Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
And good night, everybody.
And that is the end of episode 12.
I swear, we kick it off every week with that, AJ. What's your meaning behind that?
It's just because you say good evening, that's all.
Oh,
Good night.
Sometimes people used to, I can't remember who it was. There's a famous, my headphones are going crazy. Someone who always starts off with good morning, good evening, good night.
Good morning, good evening, and
You
good
never know
night.
when somebody's listening.
Wasn't there a Kanye West?
nighttime.
I know we're going off topic. Wasn't there a Kanye West album where he had good morning at the beginning and then good night at the end, 2 songs?
I don't think I could night at the end, did
I can't remember.
I think he did.
I can't remember. Good morning is...
Good morning. What's that? Graduation?
Nah, it's not on graduation.
he? It is.
I think it is.
It is.
It's on late registration.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
No, fact check right now. Fact check it.
Fact check. Well, we're going to do a Kanye
I
party.
don't even know.
AJ, who knows his music, doesn't know his albums.
I don't know. I don't really listen to Good Morning, to be fair.
Oh, that was my
This
alarm.
is my
for-
dissertation. Welcome to graduation.
Yeah,
Good
graduation.
morning.
I knew it. I knew it.
Good Morning was never one for me, to be. I'm not going to lie.
But
That's
good
why you
morning.
always say good night.
Yes.
That's-
But here's good evening.
It is good evening and good night for
evening.
AJ.
With a new neon.
So let's discuss what we've been up to.
Go on.
We lost an episode last week.
We
unfortunately.
recorded for 2 hours, just a little over 2 hours.
2.5 hours.
I still have fun chatting with you boys.
Yeah, it was all for nothing though, to be honest. But never mind.
We didn't enjoy just being
We
here,
moved up.
spending time
Not
with
really.
us.
Not
Oh,
really.
fair
No.
enough.
No.
We're not friends. We're not friends. You
Yeah.
know?
We're frenemies. We have a new neon, guys,
Yes, in case you can't
and we
see
have
it.
set up a little bit differently now.
Yeah.
Got
So
our
the
monitor in the center.
Yeah,
Liam was promised on episode 10. It's finally
was.
finally got here.
it's arrived, and it's
Due to some warehouse changes. We're moving our whole company.
Let's not bitch about the
No,
company.
that's not. No. To be fair, they've done a cracking job,
They have done a cracking
and
job.
it is absolutely amazing. Putting that up
I'm
was
very happy with
great fun.
It was great, but turning it on was even better.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Lights
bright
off.
as hell.
Oh yeah.
Zoom, literally, every time I look at it, I feel like it's going to blind me.
I'm looking forward to actually seeing the visuals actually after wrapping up on this.
But then
Hopefully it looks
just welcome everyone to episode 12 of Cajun Camp.
Episode 12. Yeah.
We'll say it now.
12 in brackets
That's it.
11.
That's it, 11. I reckon we will find the lost tapes one day of 11, though. They'll resurface.
11.
We'll find them. They're in there. They're in the archive. They're in the archives.
Well, we have the video, I guess, but the thing is, the audio just won't be great.
no,
And it will be. Well, I'm not sure if you'll even be able to hear us.
It'll be
properly.
shit.
It won't be enjoyable
really
for anybody
shit.
listening in.
No.
it won't be. Good weekend, though, boys. We're in
Nah.
December now.
Yeah, we are in December, yeah.
It's crazy, man. The
Yeah.
countdown to freaking Christmas in 2025 is on.
When did we actually start? What was our first episode?
September, which is actually mad.
Okay,
So if you think 12 episodes, that's 3 months.
we basically rolled through
Pretty
this
much.
quarter,
Yeah.
just doing our first set of recordings.
It's a quarter anniversary.
Yeah, so far so good, boys.
Well done, boys. Yeah,
so
yeah,
far so
it's been
good.
good.
We're doing all right.
That's it. I'm enjoying it. Like you said
But
last
yeah.
week, we don't do it for money. We don't do it for anything like that. We just
Do
do
it
it
for fun.
All for fun. All for the love.
For the love.
For the love of TKO.
For the
Yes.
love of money.
We had a good weekend. We were here Saturday night.
We watched it live. That was tough, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
tough towards the end.
It was tough.
After the shots and the alcohol.
We
Yeah,
recorded
we
some
had
additional
beers
content,
and
didn't
stuff.
we? And that involved having a few beers and having some fines and some punishments.
We also recorded ourselves watching some of the card.
A live watch along.
But in your words, we looked like we were zombies.
We were way too frass, basically.
It's
I
tough,
was
man.
gone. You
I
were
was-
sitting there like,
I was glued to
No,
the screen,
no.
but I had about 300 monsters just to get me through it. So yeah, Survivor
Welcome to
Series though.
heaven.
Survivor Series. I guess we should probably just kick off talking about that. Really,
let's kick off talking about Survivor Series.
give me your, I suppose your initial grade of the pay per view out of 10.
Out
Each
of
of you.
10.
What did you have? What did you think of it? 10 and comment.
7.
7. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's certainly each match was interesting for sure. I'm not gonna lie, the women's war game match was a great kickoff. But towards the end, Nia really sort of didn't really.
You said
Do it
like,
for me.
what was that? You said something into the group earlier, didn't you? That was quite
Yeah,
funny.
so there's a video,
Yeah.
and she's just hitting chair shots, man.
Yeah, those chair shots didn't look.
War game
best.
matches
Let me
in
see
her
if I can-
career.
I can
Tiffany
bring it-
hasn't
I can
been
bring it
in
up
any,
in here,
neither is
actually.
Nia, so maybe Candice
on,
LeRae
go on.
figures,
Oh yeah,
hey,
it's
listen,
just
let me
because
bring
then we'll have the
experience in
audio, I
here.
guess.
That's it, the technical. So while you're bringing
Sending
that,
steel
you've got
chairs into the ring, which
Yeah,
Nia
that's
Jax
easy.
is using now. Bailey and Naomi.
Oh, pathetic.
Naomi doing her best to protect herself.
Pathetic.
Jax is using now on Bailey
Yeah.
and Naomi.
Yeah, no.
See, I noticed that when we were watching it. Obviously,
Yeah.
we'll come to the women's match, but yeah, for a War Games match, it just wasn't very believable, was it?
Let me down a little bit, to be fair, but looking at the card, I enjoyed all of the matches, to be honest with you. It's one of the big four. It's that PLE 5 match focus.
The 5 match cards, that's what Triple H likes.
So a 7 is that's what, like a B plus, or is that a B? Just a B?
Yeah,
I'd say it's a solid B.
a solid B.
Solid
Yeah.
B. Okay.
All right.
I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna follow JD, to be honest, because I don't know. 7.5 makes it a bit lazy. Sometimes I don't really like giving half marks, but
Yeah.
if I could give it a 7.5, it's because it's sort of between 8 and it's sort of between a 7, just because I feel that everything sort of fell into place. There wasn't really any. There wasn't anything that was kind of unexpected. We talked about all like the different like options that could have came from some of these matches here, and everything was just sort of a bit run of the mill. The matches were very good, so that's the reason why maybe I could give it an 8.
Yeah.
But in terms of anything that's just out of any painting outside of the box didn't actually happen on this card, in my opinion. That's the way that I took it.
I don't know whether we go into these pay-per-views now under the Triple H era where we're expecting all these surprises or swerves. Maybe we expect too much.
I've been expecting them for years, but then that's me just reading into it too much, and that's what it creates anyway. It creates the buzz around the matches and the storylines, doesn't it? If we all speculate,
Yeah.
So that's how I see it anyway.
Yeah.
to be fair.
I think it was like, obviously we won't go into the men's match before, but obviously with what happened on, say for example, Bad Blood, and this being a card that's supposed to be held above that, and some of the developments that happened on that card and how well that card was received, that's why I felt like maybe this one was a bit of a, not a backstep, but it was probably just running in line with that. It didn't, like I say, I think the matches maybe were, to some degree, they were better. There were a few, so there were some things that I could have gone without, but just in terms of where things like Bad Blood have been, and then obviously between that we had the Crown Jewel, so we sort of were expecting, we had like a good like peak there, then we had like a bit of a lull, and I think we were waiting for another peak, and it was just okay.
The peak kind of came. I mean, a lot of storylines, I suppose, came to, the tip of the iceberg, but I suppose there wasn't that killer moment that we were perhaps waiting for.
It was more certain parts of certain matches rather than the whole card as a thing. I think when Bad Blood happened, like that card was just like
well put together.
Yeah, very, very well put
pieced together. Flowed well. Every match felt a little bit different. And I get you. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to follow you boys and agree. I think a 7 is probably where it sits. I just thought it was
lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7.
You're agreeing with something that we've said.
I'm agreeing with you.
You haven't even comcompromised. You've fully agreed.
I fully agree. I would have gone in at 7.
It's a first. It's a first.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Yeah, it's a double count now. But
oh, is it that one? Oh no, sorry.
Wait, you got a bell. It's got the bell sound.
No, applause. We're getting the applause here.
Thank you. But it was just all right. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was all right.
I mean, as I've explained, as a card, it was
disappointing. That it was a thanks, AJ. Thank you.
got there in the end.
Basically.
I was wondering what was going on.
It was disappointing that it was a big 4 or a big 5, so to speak, but definitely one of the big 4s, one of the original big 4s, but it didn't quite hit the nail that we were hoping for. But I agree with J-Dog in that some good match action, some good in-ring action for some of the matches.
It's very solid.
Yeah. I mean, breaking down the cards, I mean, we'll talk about each match just gently. I mean, the women's War Games match, as you said, kicked us off.
Yeah.
Which I think we said that was going to happen, and we obviously assumed the women would come out first. So they had some good spots, but that video that you brought up earlier of Nia Jax for me just summed up how I felt about that match. Just all a bit soft in ring.
I think we actually mentioned that when we were watching it live, didn't we? Because I remember, before Nia was having the run that she's having now, the general conception that was happening online and with the WWE roster is that she was she was injuring quite a few people. She was doing the old Ryback, the old
Yeah.
Goldberg. She was taking out a couple of the members of talent. So I think that maybe she just sort of wanted to kind of reel it in, but she just didn't do it in the best way. She didn't make it like kind of execute and make it believable at least.
Yeah, I mean, having those cameras on you and like not even hitting the shots.
You're right. Sorry.
At least hit the shots, man.
I wasn't sure where to put.
Yeah,
my
let me
answer.
open it for you.
No. It's just because get that on mic.
AJ's just trying to maneuver his can.
Yeah, there's a lot of cables here.
coaster
You know,
fan.
all those things that people don't see on camera.
They're all on AJ.
It's all going on down there at the moment.
It's all going on down in that region.
Yeah. But there was, speaking of awkward moments, there was a lot of awkward and disjointed moments in the match, I think, throughout it. I mean, for all 10 women did what they could in the time that they had allocated in the constraints of the 2 rings in the cage, but it just didn't come across for me on camera, us as viewers, in the best light. Don't know if you would agree.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I think it's something to build upon
Something to
for
build
next
upon.
year. I mean, they only get bigger and better, I think.
Yeah.
Io Sky's been in all 3.
Actually,
Women's War Games, yeah.
oh, I think that's a good stat. There you go.
Yeah, I
believe
think
so.
they
Oh,
mentioned
she's
that, didn't
second.
they?
Hold on.
She had a great spot, Iliska, the moonsault that she did when she had the trash can on her head.
Yeah, and she done like a different variation of that last year, and I think that she is obviously somebody who
Oh, wait, hold on.
fits into this match very, very well.
Yeah. It's becoming her signature.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like how Jeff Hardy was like known for like the big ladder matches.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
things like that.
Are you talking about the bin spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, the trash can.
Sorry, just to retract, it's actually Io Sky's 6th War Games.
She had some in NXT as well, didn't she? Yeah.
Right,
On the main
okay.
on the main card though, this is her 3rd.
I believe, possibly.
But there's only been 3 War Games matches on the main card.
There we go then.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
There you
She's
go.
been involved in every one. But yeah, it was good. Obviously, the faces got over on the heels. Team Ripley beat Team Morgan. I think it was a clean win from Rhea. I think she got the pin in the end.
Pinned Liv.
Did you not? Do you remember when we were watching Naomi come down to the ring? She had that party hat on.
Yes,
It's her birthday.
It was her birthday. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was her
didn't even realise that. I was like, she's just wearing a party hat to a War Games match. What the hell is that all about? But yeah, average match, would say. Average War Games for the women.
I think
a good way to kick off, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Go on.
in terms of how do you feel about the kind of the layout of or how the War Games match kind of carry out? Because it's hard sometimes watching it, knowing that obviously you're waiting for all the 5 guys to come out. It's not like Elimination Chamber, like where people are getting eliminated.
No.
Like they keep obviously. They mention the thing of the match starts when the last person comes out. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, okay, so I know you guys are kind of slow rolling me
Yeah.
until the match can officially start. And then the match is never going to end right after it starts, even though people have been in the ring for 20 minutes or
Yeah.
15 minutes beforehand.
I mean, you saw in the men's, Tamatonga tried to pin Jay, didn't he? And obviously, he realised at the start. It was the start of the match.
Yeah.
It's all down to how they tell the story in the ring.
Yeah.
It's a very different kind of match. It's like a Royal Rumble, isn't it? Like you have, entrant number 1. Is he going to last all the way to 30 and outdo
Yeah,
everybody?
but that's the thing. So many people can, like, before they get to entrant number 20, like 5, 7, 15 people could have been eliminated by that at that point. So there's still things that are going on in the match to kind of keep you rolling, keep you kind of like tuned in, because anything can happen.
Do you think they should add like an elimination aspect then? Like if someone gets pinned at 1, 2, 3,
Well, that's basically an elimination chamber.
then it's just like the 5-on-5, isn't it? The 5-on-5
It's like the
tag,
traditional
that
elimination
would
chamber.
be a good little.
But then again, it takes away from the whole basis of War Games. Like, it's war. So these guys are all going in the ring before the match has even begun to war it, damage the shit out of each other, use weapons, come flying off the cage, and then you should have effectively the story they want to tell is you've got 10 men in there that have been battered to a pulp. Now the match is going to start.
Yeah, but then
But you are right. I think it's how they build to that 10, I think, is very, very important. How they get there. Sometimes it's not the best delivery. But then again, the first War Games match that they did at NXT, Like they did that, it was so good. I think Pete Dunne was involved in that. Oh man,
Yeah, we spoke about that before.
if you go back and watch the first War Games match that Triple H put on an NXT Takeover, that was like insane. Like from the moment that the first two men were in the ring, the whole build up to all 10, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, this match has only just begun. It's been carnage. So I think a lot of the performers in the ring can take responsibility for how good that match is going to be when it gets to the point of the 10.
Yep.
It's all about creatively how they pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
very different.
It is very different. It is interesting, obviously, because, like similar to what you were saying before, like back in the day when it used to be Survivor Series, the five tag match, with the main captain who would be there. It's almost like you're even holding out for that last person to come out and get that like big roar, and then the match officially starts, and then it happened from there, because obviously the way that it went, and the last people who came out on each side, and effectively they were the people who carried it through to the end, the win, pretty much. So
that's it.
I don't know. So it's a strange format. I'm still kind of
getting used to it.
Yeah, I have to kind of refresh myself every time when I see it.
It's a Marmite thing, man. You're either going to love it or you hate it.
I like it for the aspect that it's very different, like with the 2 ring setup, the large cage.
Yeah.
I love
the 2 ring
They
setup.
changed it slightly this time as well, because you were saying even how they had the platforms up top, so like the big spots are going to happen where people are going to go up top and all that sort of stuff.
And it's visually good to look at. I like how they have the flamethrowers around the ring as they're lowering the cages. It's a good build up. You got the air horns coming on, the sirens. So it's all about delivery. It's all about delivery. But it's a tough match to get through. I think for the performers, it's hard to.
It's a tough match to put on.
It's a tough match to put on,
especially when people get injured.
But if it's done, somebody did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of people did, but we'll get to that. Yeah,
but I suppose the next match, just following on from the women's war games, we had LA Knight against Shinsuke.
we did.
The new Shinsuke, the king of strong style.
The new United States champion,
Insane.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was a good match with a good pace. But yeah, he got a clean win on Night.
Yeah, I called it when the entrance was on. I was like, they're not going to put on an entrance for this guy like this and have him lose.
No.
That makes zero sense at all.
I mean, it's great. I mean, his entrance looked incredible, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the best presentation of Shinsuke Nakamura they've done since he's been signed to the company.
And it was a clean win as well.
Yeah,
There was no missed.
But I mean, his in terms of his entrance
Oh, yeah.
and his the way they're obviously building his character.
His persona.
It's like a reinvigoration of Shinsuke. Really touching into the anime. I like the promos as well.
The promos that have been building up
Or
to
the little segments.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting actually, because the promos, I really like the promos and like the style, and when you described it to me, because you described it before I saw it, kind of his new character, his new gimmick, and like you say, exactly how he came down, the way he presented himself. He had the samurai outfit. They reworked his theme tune, the whole look.
What do you think of the theme tune?
Stuff like that.
Oh, it's a banger.
I think it's awesome. Like the whole package.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I thought, I can't speak. I thought it was fucking awesome. To be fair, like I've never really been a Shinsuke guy before. To be fair, like
No.
I actually like his in style, his in ring style. Sorry, but as far as him as a character, I was never really kind of behind it.
Yeah.
I was buzzed when he
I think
came.
that this is more interesting.
Oh, this is more of an in-depth character. I mean, I haven't seen this much work on a video package since Bray or the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, it's very creative.
Like, it's a very creative. Like, there's a different creative direction, and this is what we like to see more. I want to see more of a creative direction with video packages and stuff. I like a bit of a cinematic aspect.
Yeah.
TNA did it for a stint back.
I think you want to do video packages for certain people. Obviously, Nakamura, I think we touched on him last week. He's the kind of guy that on the mic might not resonate with a huge amount of fans, and on I suppose Americans, the English people, Japanese would really resonate with what's going on at the moment. I suppose he's one of the only Japanese main roster talents there is at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah. Do you think that?
Which is a big market.
Do you think these videos or video packages, so to speak, actually help the character instead of having him on the mic? Yeah. There we go. See, look,
Absolutely.
they found the niche for him, haven't
if
they?
they're done right.
Correct.
It's just it's how you execute it, really.
Yeah.
But the buzz around Shinsuke Nakamura when he actually joined WWE, he had his first match was with Sami Zayn, right?
It was.
It was an NXT. I think it was an NXT event. I can't remember which one it was.
Probably a takeover of some sort.
Possibly.
Yeah.
An absolute banger of a match. Obviously, Shinsuke won, but then there wasn't. That was a hype when he started, but then you don't. Then it was just not much else after that.
It's tough. It's tough to put him.
Really?
I know in NXT
He died down very quickly.
I know in NXT he was a serious deal. They strapped a rocket ship to him in NXT. I think he was NXT champion for a while, wasn't he? Because I mean that fan base, they're a lot more of your hardcore indie wrestling fan base. Whereas then you put him on a main roster, it's a whole different kettle of fish. But I think the video packages, and even we were talking about last week about having a manager with him who can speak for him. That would help. But I think
mouthpiece, yeah.
The mouthpiece. But I think the way they're presenting him now is definitely going to resonate a lot more, and it's going to add to his character and his aura, I think. And hence, again, they've given him a clean win for the US belt against LA Knight, who they've been pushing and pushing. That's a big win for him. I think his moveset hasn't changed much. I think he still beat LA Knight with the Kinshasa, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is his signature move, so they haven't changed that. But yeah, I think fair play to Nakamura. Bigger things to come for him. Let's see where they take it.
And touching on LA Knight as well, I mean, it's a shame he lost, but I want to see him.
What's next for LA?
Get put in a bit of a bigger picture now.
Yeah.
Needs to start hanging with the big boys now.
Let's see how he goes. I think he'll probably want to have a rematch with Shinsuke first.
Yeah.
I think they'll do that program. But you never know, Royal Rumble. Who knows? What could happen with Knight. But fair play to him. Good run with the belt. Let's see what Shinsuke can do with it.
Yeah.
It was a tough spot for them, to be fair. I suppose coming after a big stipulation match like Wargames to then come out and put a singles match on like that when I suppose all the hype of the cages have gone. It's tough. I think if you put that on a different pay-per-view as an opener, I think that match would have probably come across a lot better than it did.
Okay.
I think it was just a tough spot for them. On the card.
Yeah.
I don't think the match itself was bad.
No, it wasn't.
And then we had the other side. We had the triple threat.
We did.
Breaker, Sheamus, and Kaiser for the IC belt. I actually watched this bell to bell. I was pretty glued.
Yeah.
I thought this was the match of the night.
Yep. Could agree.
I think any match at the moment where Braun Breaker's involved, it's a bit of a showcase.
Yeah, of course.
He never puts on a bad match.
He is a breakout star.
Breakout star.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's always exciting to watch, isn't he?
Where's the rim shot? Oh, no. Sorry.
I'll tell you what, you're active.
That's what I need.
You're active on the sound pad today, anyway. This is good, man.
I just need to start remember which one they are. I need to hit this.
He's been practicing. But those three guys, I mean, they were intense.
Yeah. I mean, Ludwig Kaiser's intense anyway, so Sheamus. And then so is Braun. Like, the intensity sort of really showed in that match. I liked it when Ludwig was standing there and Sheamus just came up behind him behind the barricade.
Yeah.
And then just done the wax, didn't he?
There was a meme on that floating around online, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I think I saw one about Mariah Carey. So like Ludwig Kaiser's there, and then Mariah Carey's Sheamus coming up behind him, rising from the dead.
Where the All I Want for Christmas showing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's sitting up. I saw some Undertaker ones. Some funny ones. But yeah, tons of fun. I thought, you know me, I'm a big fan of triple threat matches.
Yeah, I thought like you say, the actual match for this was wicked. It was really, really good. I think that we spoke about it obviously with how the kind of ending went. It seemed like it was obviously more of a showcase, I guess, for the kind of like building the story for Ludwig Kaiser, I guess.
Yeah.
That was kind of that was the overarching thing to kind of get him in some conversations. I think we all agreed that we didn't think that Breaker was going to lose the title.
No.
So,
I mean, Sheamus is a living legend.
Yeah.
He's just a freaking legend, man.
Puts everybody over now.
Puts everybody over. He's reliable in the ring. You get a win on Sheamus, you're bigger and better. But he's
a big, imposing guy, man.
Yeah, he is. He's just a
ginger
legend
as well.
I think he's going to be in the realm. He is ginger. He's going to be in the realm of like the respect that Randy Orton gets soon. I think he's going to enter there. But obviously, Breaker's a future world champion. Clearly, I think they're going to put him in bigger programs next year.
Oh, absolutely.
And Ludwig Kaiser is literally looking like he's going down a road of being one of the most reliable people in WWE for being a great heel.
Yep.
and great in the ring.
Still,
I love how, if you look back 5 years ago, or even 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
the landscape and the superstar, I'm not going to say superstars, that sounds so weird.
Pro wrestlers, we call them.
The wrestlers that have come through from NXT now, it's just a completely different roster.
Oh, massively.
And it,
All NXT guys.
Yeah. Apart from Motor City Machine Guns,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Motor Shitty. They're not shitty.
But it was a great match.
sorry.
Great match. Great
Good match. Yeah. So it finished with Breakker. Obviously, he won with the spear. He's retained his belt. What's next now? I think there was
My favourite belt.
There were some moments on Raw. I think it sounds like Ludwig's not done with Breakker yet, so I think that's going to be.
I don't think they're all done with each other yet. I think
Yeah,
Ludwig pulled Sheamus out, didn't he?
Sheamus, yeah.
Yeah. Pulled Sheamus out the ring. No, he pulled the ref out the ring, didn't
He pulled the ref out the ring, and then Sheamus and Ludwig kind of had their face off, and they kind of like made a point of that, and then I think Breakker more so like kind of took advantage of the situation, and then just obviously could close up the match. But it seemed like there was like real tension, like exactly when that happened with Kaiser and Sheamus. So.
Yeah. It was a good showcase for all of them. I think a notable moment, which I've actually got here. So Breakker, I remember this spot when Breakker leapt from the apron to hit a clothesline that sent both of them over the announce desk.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that was
what a
Great
spot.
spot.
That was a massive spot.
Mad on him. But yeah, that was really good.
But between that and the Sheamus doing the clubs as well, that was wicked. That had the crowd right behind him, and then
mate. Always does.
and then it's like, oh, Breakker, it's your turn.
Ludwig took a beating, mate. He took a beating. But yeah, break up, still champ. Let's see what they do with him. Good match. Obviously, we then had the World Heavyweight title match, Gunther and Damian Priest. What did you think?
I thought what happened was exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Yes, you predicted it, J-Lo.
I did.
Another green score for you.
I don't think there wouldn't have been another outcome. To be honest with you, I think that was always going to be the way.
Slower pace, wasn't it? Wasn't it like the match wasn't fast? It was a slow, methodical kind of match. Technically good,
Yeah.
just slow.
I guess, just going back off of what we were saying before, like kind of everything that happened in the card was kind of just as expected. I guess this is probably the only thing, I guess, because you've been calling it for like weeks now. For the last 2 weeks, you've kind of been saying,
It just made sense. I mean, because
This interruption was
what good would have gone if Damian Priest won? Then what good of Finn's promise would, or whatever he said to Damian Priest, is like, you will never win this title again. I will always be there when you least expect it, or something along those lines. Whatever he said.
Yeah.
I've got used to that sort of expectation now, though. If subtle things like that are going to be said, I think there's a segment a few weeks ago as well where Gunther and Damian Priest sort of agreed that they're going to have a match anyway. Yeah. And then there was another segment with the Judgment Day, and Finn was like, "Oh, this is a problem," kind of thing.
Yeah. He'd been subtly
and then it just
dropping
got brushed aside.
Yeah. But you got to remember, Finn's also a tag champ with Damian Priest. He's got, not Damian Priest, with Dominic. So
JD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Madonna. Sorry. Yeah. So he's tag team champion. Plus, he's still guiding to be the world champ. He's a busy boy right now. There's a lot of programs to be thinking about. So maybe they'll take the straps off him.
Well, if we tie that into Raw quickly, I mean, obviously, there's things happening. We can speak about it now if you want.
Yeah, go on.
Tie it into Raw.
Tell us all about it, J-Dog.
You had Dominic and Gunther.
Yeah.
That was off the basis of Dominic pinned Damian Priest before, I believe.
Yes,
So yeah, they had the match, and then Finn came in afterwards. But yeah, Adam Pearce has said that he's going to discuss the tag team titles next week.
Yes, I think that's
As well.
bit of a cliffhanger there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they've announced that Balor and Gunther are going to have it out at Saturday night's main event for the world champ, haven't they? So that's actually been booked. So off the back of that, so do we think that Priest is then going to get involved in that and cost Balor? Is it like we can see
tit
what's
for
coming?
tat sort of thing?
Yeah.
Possibly. I think Finn might be breaking away from the Judgment Day as a whole at some point.
I think maybe the
He's
whole
become a
stable,
bit too leaderish now, where they said that they didn't really want a leader.
the stable will disband, perhaps.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for a couple of years now, to be fair, and they've had a good run. But yeah, look, the match did what it was supposed to do, I guess. Inject filler and inject Balor back in, restart that rivalry. Priest and Balor will have some serious heat, maybe similar.
I don't think it ever left that rivalry. To be fair,
it didn't left, but they took us one way, leaving it there. Now I thought
it was like a detour,
bringing it back. And Gunther, he's looking more and more like a face, like a baby face, isn't he?
Kind of,
sort of, yeah. He's in a weird spot right now. I don't really know what they're kind of doing with his character.
Well, on Raw, he was a face, man. He was a baby face on Raw. When he had that segment with Finn Balor backstage, he was playing to the crowd. It was like, I feel great. He was smiling. His persona was a baby face. So maybe they've officially turned him face now.
Maybe.
And he's going up against Balor, who's one of the hottest heels in the company.
Yep, there we go then.
So looks like it's incoming.
Maybe he's a tweener.
Yeah, you like the word, the tweeners.
Well, a tweener on the mic, but in the ring, different because he's very respectful in the ring.
Yes, he is.
It's not dirty.
Yeah, always shakes the hand after or whatever. So,
but who knows what's going to happen with Priest? We'll see. I thought he looked great though. His entrance was fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it was a slightly smaller set.
Reliable Priest, man.
It looked brilliant. Yeah, he still
he puts on a good show, man.
So yeah, that's the direction of the world titles, and obviously we had the big main event. The new versus the old. New Bloodline.
The OG versus the Bloodline.
OG Bloodline. So the entry for the order of entry I've got here. So Reed was in first.
We're not going to talk about the entrances as a whole.
You can talk about the entrances. Yeah, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you had the Bloodline came out together with Bronson Reed.
Yes.
Together, yeah.
And then you had the OG Bloodline with CM Punk all come out individually.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was their way of, I suppose, depicting that the OG Bloodline ain't a unit.
But also a unit in itself at the same time.
Yeah, I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
Because they're their own individual people who are have built their themselves as their own kind of personas.
My favorite entrance is definitely Punk's when he just went and was like kicking the cage.
Yeah,
that was a brilliant little spot for him, man.
Yeah, that wasn't scripted apparently.
Just giving him shit straight away.
He just did that off his own back.
Brilliant.
but we were all kind of taken back as well, especially with the last person coming out.
Yeah.
we thought obviously it was going to be
Roman. We thought it was going to be
the
Roman.
old tribal chief himself, and then we were just
the only tribal chief, not even the original tribal chief, the only
Tribal chief.
The real meaning of OTC.
But again, he just looked, man. His aura is just on another level, man. Obviously, you don't see Reigns come out as often anymore because he's in ring. I suppose the amount of matches he's having per year now has decreased significantly, so you're only really going to see him on pay-per-views. But when he comes out at a pay-per-view, his entrance is still probably one of my favourites.
Yeah, I think he, like you say, his aura, just even the way he kind of came out, he stood right in front of the cage, gave them the stare down, turned around, threw the one up. It was just it was very epic, just the way they built it up. They didn't need to do all the extra stuff with the crazy music and bring everybody out. He just sort of came out.
That's it.
Just kind of had this kind of aura about him where he was just like,
God mode.
I'm here, and you're like, I'm going to show you, sort of thing.
Absolute God.
I do feel like he looks like a little bit of a lost sheep right now as well.
A lost sheep.
Why'd you say that?
Or a lost shepherd, shall we say?
A lost shepherd.
A shepherd without sheep.
A shepherd with no sheep.
Blasphemy.
It doesn't feel like he's in full. Well, obviously, his character is not in full control as he has been before.
Initially,
authority by fear.
Well, I think he's now authority by respect.
Yeah.
Well, but even
I think that's the way they're kind of maneuvering his character, exactly like what you're saying, that he shouldn't be a guy because he's shown what, trying to assert his dominance, trying to use fear, trying to use his strength, and the members of his tribe to assert his dominance.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of just being like, okay, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because we saw how that went the last time.
Yeah.
So now he's obviously understanding that, I think, as well, now with the kind of the advancements that happened with Paul Heyman as well.
No apologies to anyone, though, but we'll touch on that when we talk about Raw.
I think it's gestures,
I'm sure that will come.
No apologies as far as words, but you're seeing the physical
actions.
gestures that are
That's it.
behind
Yeah.
each of these
That's it.
interactions.
Everything that Reigns does at the moment means something. Everything. That's why he's so good. From the way he walks to, again, just his little gestures that he's doing. And he touches Heyman on the face at the end of the match to say, "Look, I'm here. I'm your." Everything that he's doing means something, which is why he's so powerful as a character right now, creatively. You notice that Punk. I didn't actually notice that until afterwards, but Punk's entrance was in between the Usos' entrance. So they had Jimmy come out first, then Punk, then Jay. Of the Reigns, which was interesting. I don't know why I did that. I would have just had the Usos come out together. But what do you think about those old style sports intros that they did as well? I thought they were a bit out of place.
What do you mean?
It seemed a bit odd, didn't it?
The video packages when they had them all individually, like giving like a promo with that like War Games background in the background before the match began.
Different.
I can't even remember that.
You know, remember it?
To be fair.
Different, yeah. So it was like Tongaloa was from... Tamatonga was from...
That's it.
from
That's it.
University.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then Fatu did his "Oh I Love You" solo promo. It was just all individual, very old school, but I just thought out of place for today's.
I think it
You'll
was
remember
worth,
if you watch it
giving it a
again,
go.
you know what I mean.
I think it was worth giving it a go just because
They were trying to be
it's
different.
Survivor Series.
Yeah,
Throw whatever's out there, see what sticks, man.
but I think
Didn't stick with you.
I think no, not really. But I think as of the overall match, I think the guys did really, really well in the time that they were allotted again. I think the build up to all 10 men coming in was good. There was hype around who's going to come in next, who's coming in next. Fatu was definitely, as we suspected, star of that match.
Yep. My favorite part of that match would be when Jay tried to throw a chair at Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed just sort of punched it out of the way.
Smacked out, yeah.
And then Jay was like, "Oh shit!" and it just went again.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking jokes.
There were some really good moments in that.
Yeah, there's really, really good moments in that. Like I say, we're talking about all the things like that happened in the match, even just when the match started, just kind of feeling that tension that's been happening between Punk and Roman as well.
Yeah.
You know, like when Roman goes in just before Jay comes out and they lock the cage, they get the chains out, and he just kind of gives them that like side-eye look. Like that was just like a picture with 1,000 words
In the
do
cage,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
between Punk and Reigns.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Punk's not even looking at him. Punk's looking straight ahead, and then you got Roman just kind of almost just like there on his
Great
shoulder.
camera shot.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it was wicked.
Brilliant. Again.
The way they work in those sort of things, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's part of the advancements I think that Triple H creatively is bringing in so much better. But yeah, look, obviously Reed, I think, had some good spots. He was in first,
Except for that jump.
except for the jump, which I think he's legit injured now, isn't he?
Mate, he rocked his ankle.
They said they said that like obviously the thing is the term broken ankles is a thing. Like
Yeah.
they use that term obviously in like basketball and things like that. So when people normally see people's ankles go a bit weird,
Yeah.
they call it broken ankles. But they obviously say that he is legitimately injured, and that jump looked fucking awful.
He's a big
Painful,
fella, man.
Mate, to have
if
all
you're
that
gonna
weight,
Do you know what do you realize what he did though, right? Because obviously normally when he does it's a tsunami, right?
yeah, tsunami off the top, but he
So-
went up to the top of the cage.
So
the top
obviously
platform.
normally he's obviously only jumping from that regular height, but obviously when you need to go over, you need to be like pancake basically.
Yeah.
You need to come flat.
Yeah.
And he didn't come flat. He basically just went almost off like this at an angle with his feet going straight down.
Yeah.
So when he landed, it's almost like he tried to land on his feet,
Yeah.
jumping from that high and go through the table.
I think
and
he
I didn't
shat
know.
himself.
I think it just I think it's just the thing of being up there with that height.
Yeah.
But I think when we saw it at the time, we were just like, oh, that was a fucking weird jump, like,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But we didn't really
Strange,
notice anything crazy. But then when you saw it from the rear view, the one that's there,
Yeah.
like I shared it in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I don't think I did. No,
Let me bring it up.
bring it up. But rough landing. Ah, yes. Is this from the?
Very rough landing, man.
This was a member in the crowd, wasn't it?
Look,
Ooh,
you see his
yeah.
feet, the angle that they came in,
Yeah.
and they did a really good job as well. Like the way Punk actually pulled
Dude,
Roman off the table.
Roman's leg looked like it was
So close.
so closely done for, man.
It was so
That
tight.
almost a bad
Play it
spot.
one more time. Let me have another.
But look at it, especially his left ankle, the way that it just like the way that it comes in. Oh, sorry, just have to refresh.
That's all right, slow.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, very close.
His feet basically just flex completely forward.
I mean, what does he expect coming from a height like that? Because that's the top platform to then jump like that.
20 something feet.
Yeah. I mean, you've got, like you say, you've got to come in with a pancake landing for a spot like that.
No, but not 20 feet. I'll probably say it's probably about 15 feet at least.
I reckon he hesitated. He got a bit, crap, this is high. Looked down, thought, right, I've got to do it. Didn't get his foot in correctly. And
You have to think it's a lot.
To be fair, it's good that he didn't it's not good that he didn't pancake, but if he would have went any more flatter on that, he would have hit Roman's legs 100%.
Oh no,
something would have happened between. So like it was actually
he definitely
very
would
good
have.
spot, but
He would have
not
had
for the
some sort of.
outcome.
He would have had some sort of contact with them 100%. But I think they obviously tried to do that thing of like, let's make it a close call. So it obviously looked very good on camera.
That was fucking
But at the
close.
same time, like the fact that we don't know like the level of his injuries, but like he could either have some broken ankles or he could have like a ruptured Achilles, like especially because the way his feet went, if he flexed if his
out
feet
for a
flexed
while,
forward, you know, he could have a ruptured Achilles, he could have done something with some of the tendons on his ankle, or they're just straight up broken.
I think they're reporting this just his right ankle now that's got the main damage.
Yeah, but that looked like it blew out, man.
Yeah.
He laid out for the. Well, I think he was supposed to lay out for the whole time anyway, because that was close to the end of the match.
If you're going for a
Didn't have a choice
table,
at that point.
but yeah,
in a War Games match towards the end, if you're going for a table, that's you wiped out.
Yeah.
That's normally the way they book it, which I think the same thing happened to Fatu.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to a few
From
of them.
Jimmy.
Yes, yeah.
That's it. That's kind of the way it ended towards the end. But Fatu, I mean, every single time he did something, that crowd went nuts for him. Every single time.
Oh, yeah.
He's so over, man.
Yeah,
It was
like
weird.
when he got the biggest reaction when the cage opened.
cage
for him,
opened, yeah.
and he stepped out when it was his time, and his walk to the ring.
He's
cleared
top
up.
Donny.
Yeah, he's being booked to the moon. Man.
He will dog walk your ass.
What's going to happen to him? What are they going to do with him?
Yeah, this was actually going to be my next question, because I'm thinking to myself, like, he only had his first singles match the other day, right?
Yeah.
And
On telly,
obviously
on telly,
he doesn't
on telly.
he doesn't say that much.
He will
He's
do.
not, he's not vocal. Like, what are they going to do?
Well, look, you think of Solo, right? When Solo was the enforcer, he didn't speak much at all.
Yeah, true.
No,
true.
Yeah,
Well, he didn't
absolutely.
really speak anything at all. And then
I think Fatu's going to be better on the mic than Solo.
he is.
The
He
way
already
they-
is.
the way they're building him.
He already is.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair,
Wait,
to be fair,
Solo back then or Solo now?
back then.
Solo
Solo,
back then.
now is almost untouchable. He's
But when
Solo
you look
now.
at both of
Right.
them, when you look at Fatu and Solo, who would you say makes the better enforcer for a bloodline?
Jacob Fatu, mate.
Fatu all day long.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Like if you look at
Oh,
the OG,
now, yeah,
the way,
100%.
yeah. I mean, Fatu, his presence, his aura, his on-screen character looks so much more, man.
This gives it's a weird perspective, right? Because I don't think Sammy will be involved much more. Like going forward, I'd like to see him have their back, but I think now it's time to inject some blood into the mix.
Well, the way
I
it
would
ended,
like-
they were saying that obviously Solo still holds the two. I mean, the OG Bloodline won, right? Let's just put that out. Let's just finish.
Yeah.
Just to cap that off. I think all 5 of the OG Bloodline hit their finishes on Solo to finish it.
Yeah.
It was Solo left on his own. They booked it well. They wiped out the others, put them all through tables, destroyed them all, and then Solo just got a finisher from each one.
It was kind of like the Lions picking off at the last hyena. That was kind of
Exactly.
the way they all laid into him.
Good
and then-
storytelling. as
I would
always.
like to
Clean
see
finish.
I would like to see Solo blame them losing on Jacob because he wasn't there when he got finished by 5 different people.
Almost like it's going to fragment.
Almost kicks him out a little bit. Kicks him out. Brings in Hikuleo,
Yeah.
who is taller Tonga. And you see Jacob move over to the old because they don't have an enforcer on the other side.
It's interesting you
You
say
see Jacob move over. Jacob would be a great face for. Well, with those boys.
But will they keep the whole bloodline feud going now? Obviously, the build for all of it
that's the thing.
was War Games match. That's what this
Yeah.
was built towards, and they've done that. The OG bloodline have won. The Usos have probably got some directions they'll want to go off in. Sami Zayn will probably have his own booking.
Well, he already has, hasn't he?
But I think the big thing coming out of it now is going to be Reigns. And bear in mind, obviously, you had the whole CM Punk angle here as well, yeah? Mm-hmm. So at the end, obviously, Paul Heyman was waiting for them both to come out of the cage, hug them all individually. Punk said to Heyman, I'm going to come back when I've got this favour that I want to ask of you. We don't know what that favour is. So there's that. There's Reigns coming out and respecting his wise man. I think he just tapped him on the face and said, basically like an acknowledgement, thank you, I'm here, I'm with you. Despite what we thought as well, Paul Heyman is still very much a Roman Reigns guy. I mean, he was praying to him like he was, didn't take his eyes off him when they walked back to the top of the entrance ramp, turned around and did their hands in the air. Heyman was on Reigns, which I was wrong on that. I thought he might have been a Punk guy. So there's loads of angles to come off the back of it, but I think Reigns now is going to have his angle with Solo to get the Hula back.
Mm-hmm. I think so as well, especially because of the way that the commentary actually made a point of that at the end. Like you say, they said,
Solo is still
the tribal chief. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so there's obviously still going to be more stories from that. But I'm just thinking about what you said as well, because when you kind of look at the kind of like polarity or kind of how things have run alongside each other, running parallel with the storytelling of the two different fragments of Bloodline, you had that dominance that I think that the new Bloodline is currently having at the moment. And then obviously you start to see the cracks appear as they lose a couple matches. Are we going to see the tribal chief kind of losing his, because Roman did this as well. He sort of lost his temper, obviously with the losses that he started to take. Started to blame the other members of the bloodline, and then that started to form the cracks that then caused them to break up later on. Do you think that we're going to kind of see that same thing happen, but with the new bloodline?
I think maybe at the moment that for there to be a turning point in each of these groups, that was the culmination. There'll be different directions for everyone now, I think. More so for the original bloodline side, because they're all individuals now in their own right. Maybe Jimmy is more of a sidekicks of Roman these days. Jay in his own right is great. CM Punk obviously is CM Punk.
All their
Sammy's looks slightly moved on a little bit from
all their stock is raised. I mean, the build for the OG bloodline has happened over the past 2-3 years. Just being associated with Roman, that job is done. Now, I think booking wise, they're trying to obviously put the new bloodline on a bit of a pedestal while being involved in it.
There's going to be a story with the Rock,
which is working.
I mean, I say it every week, but that makes zero sense for him just to turn up at WrestleMania and then. Then the next Monday night, and then Bad Blood, and then nothing else. It's going to happen.
He will be involved with Cody, I'm sure.
It's a few weeks away now. Maybe he turns up at Saturday Night Main Event to sort of tied into
even that.
Fuck! He was there at the last. He was at the last pay per view before the Netflix era.
Yeah, potentially.
We're going to watch something now. We've got something to watch.
Even the one of day one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're still going to do a day one.
I don't know if they're going to do a day one, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got
Saturday Night Main Event
on
day one.
December. That's December the 14th. And then they have in previous years, you're right, done a New Year's Day. No, they did a Raw day one this year.
Yeah, because it wasn't because it fell on a Monday. But this one, I think it falls on a Wednesday or something like that.
New Year's Day.
Wednesday night Raw.
It does, yeah, Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night Raw. Yeah. So they might do, because
so it's a Wednesday, and then obviously the 6th is obviously then the big one for Netflix.
The big Netflix. So you could be right. Yeah, that might be a good way of capping it off just before they start a new era. Because then the Rumble is not until the end of February, until the beginning of February this year. So that's going to be a bit of a gap. So you could be right.
It's rolled over from the end of Jan.
Yeah. What a shame about the Rumble, boys.
Yeah, what a shame. I know. Well, yeah, I was going to come to that.
To put things into context, we cannot go to Box Park currently to watch the Rumble.
No, it's part of the Netflix. Yeah, the Netflix.
I mean, I could just give them my password, and we can we can work something out. But,
okay, are we going to fully transition to this?
Well, yeah. I mean, just to cap off Survivor Series. Cool. I mean, look, I suppose similar to what we said. I mean, it's a tough pay-per-view where you've got two high stipulation matches, two War Games matches, bookending either end, to then keep, I suppose, people like us engaged for the matches in between. Is how I look at the pay-per-view. Good War Games matches on either side, good bit of action, but the in-between matches did their job. I think if they were on a different pay-per-view, they would have come across a hell of a lot better, in my opinion. And also neither, I suppose, the bloodline matters haven't been fully settled. Like another War Games match concluded much. There's still a lot more to come. That's probably going to be the case for most pay-per-views going forward. But entertaining show, but I don't think it's going to be a top pay-per-view of the year for me.
Not top pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, I think the leading up to when we actually started recording this, I think that we were spoiled quite a bit in terms of the level of pay-per-views that we were getting. The one that was in Oz, and then Bad Blood, which we spoke about. Backlash, that was another one. I feel like from that time earlier in the year, through to late in summer, we had really, really good stuff.
It's been a great year. It's been a great year overall. To be fair, it's better than last year in my opinion.
But that's the thing. It just means that the standard is all still very high because, we're not saying that this was a bad pay per view.
No,
I think that it's just in comparison to some of those last ones.
If you put this
standard's very high.
If you put this pay per view on TV 5-6 years ago, we probably would have said, "Wow."
Yeah.
What a pay-per-view. But now the standard is so high. But also, I think that the crowd has a lot to play for. Like, the Canadian crowd, they weren't the best crowd, were they? That we've had.
No, I mean, I can't remember who came out, and it was quite flat.
They were chanting the holy shit, weren't they? And some of the other kind of chants, and we were just like, there's not really that much happening. I think that was on the women's match. Yeah, when it started. Before Rhea and Liv came out, and there were a few spots, and they were saying like, "This is awesome," and we were just like, "It's just the start of the match."
Yeah,
sort of thing.
They were kind of forcing the issue a little bit, but for me, the French crowd, the German crowd, we've touched on it before, but they were just it's a whole different kettle of fish, and it just adds to the product so much when you have a hot crowd in the arena.
100%. Yeah, the wrestlers play off that as well.
They do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They feed off of that energy
massively.
Bring it back. Makes it a better show for everyone.
Bring it back to the UK. We'll show them how it's all done. 100%, mate.
This guy, Wembley. He's always going to advocate for a UK show.
It's coming.
We got some lined up.
But should we quickly talk about the New Day?
We haven't touched Raw yet.
We're gonna go Raw.
Or go quick Raw.
Quick Raw. Just some major bits on Raw, but
that is major, man.
That is major. Yeah,
that was a great swerve.
So. Okay, wait. This is actually a good one for us to maybe run a little bit back because in the Lost episode, we spoke about the backstage segment between those guys.
Yeah,
we did.
Didn't we?
Xavier Woods and
Kofi kind of going at each other.
Yeah,
having that spat. That was like one of the best backstage promos that they've done in the whole build up to this thing. It took it to a next level.
It's been building for weeks.
Yeah,
this just took it to that next level 100%.
And then we spoke about the outfits,
Goku Black and
Goku Black and Goku. So we thought that's Xavier Woods showing the fact that he's going to turn. But then
that's a shame we lost that.
In the backstage segment, we were talking about the margin chain on Kofi. So they actually kind of gave those hints, but it was more so we just thought it was only going to be one guy.
Yeah,
and I think they executed this fucking brilliantly.
Didn't see it coming.
Yeah, it was.
Did not see it coming whatsoever.
Maybe.
That's what it made him do.
It did. Maybe joke.
It choked him up.
He was watching it. It was like,
Kofi sort of seemed like he did.
Biggie, no.
Oh, Big E, man.
Biggie, big oldie.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
I shed a tear.
But they're right. He's not going to come back to wrestling.
Well, do you not? But okay, well, look, just to run over what happened. Obviously, Xavier and Kofi it was their 10-year anniversary of the New Day.
Yep, and they are no longer.
Which was a bit. Look, let's just acknowledge it. Acknowledge them. It's a big achievement to have a tag team remain current consistently, because it's not like they've been away and come back.
No, you're right. They've been around.
They've consistently been on that roster as the New Day with the same gimmick for 10 fucking years, man.
Yeah.
Fair play. Like, they haven't even evolved that much. They've just been the New Day. So
here's their time. Their time is now.
Now's the time to evolve. So yeah, so obviously they included, you mentioned a few weeks ago, is Big E going to be involved? Yes, he was.
Yeah, Triple H sort of brought him into the fold with that backstage segment when they kind of leading up to this 10-year anniversary episode, weren't they? We were saying, like, where's Big E? Where's Big E?
Yeah.
And then
here he comes.
Yeah.
To put it into context, Big E said he was going to be their manager.
I thought that was it. I thought when he came out,
that got a good little pop.
It got a pop. I was like, oh, Big E's back. Big E's going to be back on TV. Okay, great. So they're going to do this build up for Xavier and Kofi, trying to rekindle their relationship, but Big E's going to be there to keep it all down the straight and narrow, and then maybe he'll return to the ring down the line. But yeah,
I would actually love. Oh man, I'm just thinking about all the possibilities, like what they could do in terms of them as heels, as being guys who have been faces, like you say. Well, they were faces individually before they even started. So none of these guys have actually really had a moment as a heel. Like you look at all of them, Biggie, Kofi, Xavier Woods, all being faces individual in the individual.
They had a heel run in New Day though, but obviously they're all faces beforehand. Is what you're saying, right?
Well, New Day began as heels. But they were just not getting. I mean, that was the point. They were going to be a kind of a heel group, but it lasted for about 2 months before they turned them face.
I think it's because they didn't really have a direction. They were sort of going there because I think the fans didn't really take to the New Day when they first started. I think like the fans were just like, we don't fuck with this. Yeah. But then like they've even showed like when they started out, they had their first costumes. They were like, we hated these costumes. They fucking sucked. We were just doing this. We were just kind of finding our footing. And I think when they got their own creative kind of direction going, then they won the crowd over.
It got to the point where I think that what they said is that they stopped caring so much.
Yes.
It's not giving a shit. And they were just, we're just going to go out and be ourselves.
Yeah. Their character, their personal characters kind of came through, showed through a lot more, and I think that's what got the crowd on their side.
Authenticity works as well.
You know, their creative direction as well, with the whole thing with the fucking unicorns, the Dragon Ball Z outfits, and
the Power Rangers outfits.
Yeah.
And they did well for themselves.
The Booty-O's. Did you ever have any Booty-O's?
No. Did you?
Never. I've always wondered what they tasted like.
They're probably like us.
Not those Booty-O's, mate. Not those.
You love a big old round Booty-O.
I love a fucking Booty-O, man. Especially
he's having a bowl of Booty-O's. He's like, why is there a hair in here, man?
Bowl of Booty-O's.
Why does it smell like shit?
I reckon they just taste like Cheerios.
That's chocolate milk.
Oh, Jesus.
Chocolate ass milk.
Oh, guys, man, I'm talking about cereal. You guys have got to take it to that level.
You're talking about arse cereal.
Yeah. But yeah, great angle.
Yeah.
Great angle, man. And very sad. It was one of the saddest things that I've watched on WWE in a couple of years.
Do you think that Biggie is still going to obviously kind of stick around for the story?
Yes.
Because obviously they sort of only brought him into the fold for this.
Yeah.
And then this has happened. But do you reckon that there's actually going to be more of him on screen as well?
Well, I just
maybe not right now.
Also, think it goes to show how good Big E is, man, because he's been away for 2-3 years now out of ring and off TV. But they brought him in, and he single-handedly turned them heel.
But the fans love him. That's why.
Yeah,
I know.
The fans love him. Even when he had everyone was rooting for him when he got the title and stuff like that. Everyone was like really behind him. And then obviously,
it just shows you how over he is. Like if you are that
fucking
over,
Rich Holland,
and then you can come back for a quick segment, turn Xavier and Kofi heel in one segment. Like that, complete swerve. That's talent, man. That's talent. You know, so fair play to him. And Xavier and Kofi being a heel, I think that's a good fresh direction for them.
They used real life beef with him. Or I say real life beef. It was more like you haven't been here.
Yeah.
You haven't been here. All you focused on since you've been injured is yourself.
The things that the fans were thinking.
Obviously, But
the fans were obviously thinking it as well because they were just like, obviously they still see him on TV. They're still seeing him doing his stuff behind the desk and all that sort of stuff. So they were just like, why is he not being used in these stories? And I think that this was a kind of like a good way for them to just address it head on.
I'd like to see more of it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not right now, anyway. Maybe not too far future.
Well, he did say though, when I get medically cleared to come back.
I don't think he will come back. Though.
But he said when I am medically cleared.
I think even if he is medically cleared or when he is medically cleared, I don't think he will come back because it's too much of a high risk, man.
Don't know.
It's been done before.
Would they have teased that
before? I don't know.
Stone Cold broke his neck.
I think that
came back.
I think they listed all the guys.
Edge came back.
Edge was the one. Edge was the one that I think that everybody was just like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And
then he's broken his foot
as well.
Screwed himself.
But
he needs to just quit, man.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I'm interested. Anyway, I'm just very, very interested in to find out where their story's going to go now.
Great. Yeah.
They didn't have to do much. They were just very good on the mic.
Yep.
Big E's reaction was perfect.
Yep.
And then they just gave each other the dap. They didn't have to there was no action. Obviously, they couldn't attack Big E or whatever with the situation. But
some harsh words.
They just sort of left the door open. They've opened the door now.
Give them the tag belts.
Yeah,
maybe a Biggie return is.
They had the belts behind them. I was thinking new run.
Imminent.
What do you reckon they're going to call themselves? No New Day.
I reckon they'll just call themselves Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. They'll just take New Day out of it and just it's their names. Which actually, when you look at it, a lot of them are now like that, apart from the stables like the Wyatt Six and
The newer day.
the final test. The newer day.
Bad
a bad
day.
day. It's a bad day.
It's a bad day.
Yes, it is.
Fair, we should have saw it coming. They both came out wearing dark clothes and stuff. But yeah, great segment. And obviously, the other big news from Raw was McIntyre's back.
Big Mac is back.
Drew is back.
Yeah.
Back sooner than was anticipated, actually, because he wasn't actually supposed to. I think creatively they weren't planning to have him come back until towards the end of December. They brought him back sooner. Sounds like he's going to start something with Sammy.
Well, Bronson Reed was on. Bronson Reed's out, and he's Raw guy, isn't he? So they need another big heel.
Someone to fill that space. Yeah.
That's probably what's happened.
Could be what it's all about. Yeah, glad to see him back. I'm surprised though, because I thought he was going to come back as a face, but
He attacked Jay, didn't he? Attacked Jay behind. Well,
Yeah.
allegedly.
yeah. But what's his reasoning? Why? Why?
Didn't Roman take the belt from Drew? And it was Drew. No, he didn't. Roman took it off the Fiend. Who did he take the other belt off of?
Oh, no idea. When did Roman Reigns unify belts? Let's see if J-Dog is going to find the answers.
Probably not on fucking Wikipedia because it takes
No.
too long to fucking find.
There's normally just a list. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there you go.
You just made the list.
You just need to. Yeah, there you go.
That was a long time ago. But
beat Goldberg.
McIntyre's had his beef with Reigns since then anyway. They had like the Clash of the Castle main event. Obviously, when Solo came into the fold, they did all of that. I think there's other. I don't think Reigns is a factor in this. I think there's other reasons for him. But good to see him back. Again, love seeing Drew. He did some good stuff on social media afterwards to tie in with it. If you haven't watched it, you should have a little look at it. Some good promos on there.
Go on, fill us in.
Well, he was just basically saying, I'm back, as if you could forget me. How could you forget me? Like, but it hasn't been that long. Never forget who I am. I'm a
Who's
presence
this
here.
again? Drew.
Drew. Yeah, he
That's what
just.
he said.
Yeah, he
Missed that.
was doing he did some stuff on Instagram backstage after he came back through Gorilla.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, have a look at socials. Their social media, the way that these guys are now using social media is so smart. It's just
Yeah.
another layer of
You were missing it for a couple of weeks because you
was.
guys were like, oh, nothing else has come of this. And I remember something happened with, it was the KO and Randy Orton
KO
match that
and
never
Orton,
happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there was a backstage segment with KO, and he was like, oh, we haven't had anything. And I'm like, yeah, this is what happened.
Yeah,
JD, you are head of social media.
I'm fucking not. I'll tell you that. We need a head of social media.
Yeah, I know. But no,
Jesus.
we're doing well with it. But yeah, that's it really for WWE, man. Lots happening. Obviously, the next big thing for WWE is the Saturday Night Main Event, which is coming up on December 16th or the 12th.
You said 14th.
The 14th.
14th.
That's next Saturday. It's almost turning into like a little mini pay-per-view now, which I didn't expect. I thought that was just going to be a kind of like a house showy kind of event, but it's turning into something that's quite a big deal. So
PPV.
we'll talk more about that next week as it builds.
Are we going to have our rant now?
What's the rant? Go on.
The box spot, right?
Yes.
Because not necessarily just on their behalf, more just like the whole situation. We've sort of not seen how this whole Netflix thing is going to play out.
So this is
now we
relevant
know
to
how
Netflix,
it's
by the
played
way,
out now.
yeah.
So now-
what we're about to rant about is the Netflix switch and what that means for us as
So-
UK fans.
What it means currently is
on.
that in the UK,
Yeah.
any pay-per-view events that happen on Netflix, we cannot go out and watch them in public.
Because they
It has
are
to be at home.
they are not shown on pay-per-view.
No.
Because the licensing to show it basically it isn't covered for on-demand content.
Which I think is fucking crazy. It's mad because everybody pays their subscription fees. Like, so you pay.
It's not about that. It's about the licensing. It's about
licensing.
the licensing is the issue because obviously the licensing is, I guess it falls under live TV, but even though Netflix is now going to essentially be live, it's not going to be TV. It's not broadcast.
Yeah, and the censorship ain't there.
It falls into a weird grey space.
Yeah.
And like we spoke about this in the group, and it was kind of annoying just even thinking about it because it was like we've had teasers of Netflix. We've had teasers of Netflix obviously doing things live. We talked about the roasts, were the first ones that went live.
Yep.
And then obviously we had Paul Tyson recently. And that should have kind of been the first, I guess, because we weren't tapped into that event.
Yeah.
None of us really cared about that event.
Yep.
So as there's going to be more live events that are going to be that people are going to care about, we talked about obviously NFL's coming up, and then we have the switch over for WWE going on there. So
well, they're the first ones to really dive into the live weekly sports entertainment audience. So they're like the test dummies, really.
Yeah.
A lot of other sports will be looking at WWE to see what happens. And should we now take our foot forward?
Yeah.
But I mean, Netflix's terms of use state that the service is for personal and non-commercial use only. Public performances of Netflix content violate these terms of use.
Right. Okay.
So that's where the issue is, and it will be an issue for a lot of sports, man.
And
Netflix need to change that.
I understand like why that is the case, because they're basically saying that they previously. Because they weren't doing any live showings. Because the thing about live showing obviously is like you kind of want to bring people together, obviously, for these
make it an
events.
Make it a social.
You know, people get together to go and watch things, do a watch party, all this sort of stuff. But
you go
now,
watch the football at the pub, you go watch the NFL at a bar.
Well, there's been WrestleManias where they've been showing cameras around the world where people are watching WrestleMania in bars, in clubs. They had one in Box Park. I'm pretty sure they did.
That's it. In squares, everywhere.
Then?
I understand in terms of when that was the on-demand model, that makes sense. When it was previously the on-demand, when there was nothing live, that makes sense because you want to get as many viewers in all these houses dotted around the world. So when there's a new TV show, you want as many people watching as possible. But when you start talking about the commercial use and how people quantify that, I think that now they obviously need to work that out, because technically it's only being broadcast in that one place, but you know there's 300 people in this at this event. So
He's gutted.
Why don't we just go to Box Park on that day anyway, and we'll just get our phones out
And plug it in.
We'll just sit there and watch it. Watch it together.
Did you see what people were doing before? I can't remember what event it was. It was who did Jake Paul fight before he fought Tyson?
No one cares.
He fought the other Fury, Tommy Fury, didn't he?
That wasn't before that.
I can't
He
remember.
fought Mike Perry, didn't he?
I can't.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. It was I don't think it was that actually. It might have been another event, but like there was a guy.
Anderson Silva as well.
There was a guy who basically was driving like a huge LED truck that had like a screen on it, and he just pulled over in New York, and then he was just like literally just showing the fight.
No
there
one
was
could do shit about it.
All these people just gathered around in the street in New York, just watching
shout.
the side of this van.
That's a great show.
We should just pull up to Box Park and be like, "We're still on."
Cajun Canvas fan.
Yeah.
Let's just get one. Pull out a massive screen. Let's crack on. But it's something that Netflix definitely need to address. And I suppose all the streaming platforms need to address, because if sport is going to become a streaming form of entertainment, which it is going to be, it's the direction the world's going.
But then where could we go and watch it? I don't want to watch it at home.
Well, they need to sort their terms and conditions out.
Sort it out.
I'm sure they will.
And that's the thing. Like,
Oversight,
I suppose like this
Shit
is
six.
This is now the thing that they need to sort out. They've got out. I doubt that they're going to sort it out between now and the start of February. But then
They've got WrestleMania.
Closer that we get to February, we're going to have to start thinking about Mania. And then all the people who get together. A lot of people, you know, they don't necessarily get together for all the big four or the big 5 cards to watch them live. You know, obviously Money in the Bank would be another good one, but the Rumble, like we've done the Rumble a couple years now, just to go and see that. And obviously,
and it's been a great time.
Mania is the main one, like obviously because of the status of it. People want watch parties for Mania.
Definitely. It's like a Super Bowl in the wrestling world, so you know they need to make that happen.
They need to sort it out.
But it's a shame. So we will rant, and we will continue to rant on it until it's sorted.
Sort it out.
Yeah,
Now.
it's like Royal Rumble in our living rooms this
Sort
year.
it out now.
We're gonna have to
Shame.
clip this down and actually tag Netflix UK.
Yeah, we'll tag them.
WWE UK. Let's get something to happen, man.
Yeah,
Let's
I
get
think
something
Sort it out.
There's petitions coming.
Sort it out.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. J-Dog's angry.
Well, it's not
Do you know what? Like at first, like when you sent it, when you
fuming
sent
over
it to the group, I sort of just looked at it and I was like, "Oh, that's a bit shit," like, sort of thing. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, "That's fucking bullshit."
I fucking launched my phone when I saw
fucking
that. Fuck off. Bullshit.
It's a massive oversight.
Sort it out.
It's a massive oversight from Netflix. And WWE.
Yeah, you would think that a company that is spending $5 billion has thought about these other.
Oversight. They haven't thought about that. They've just thought about the check.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the monies?
Speaking of the monies, it's fight week.
Yeah, it is.
It's UFC 310
The
this weekend.
last card of the year.
Yeah, man.
I was actually looking at this card at the start of the week.
3, 10. You're going to be your 10s the last time. I said 310. 310.
You could be 3. I'll be 1. You be 0.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at this card and I thought to myself, I think it was because I wasn't really too sure about the main event. But as far yeah.
What is it about Pantoja?
People aren't sold on Pantoja. Well, people are sold on Pantoja in terms of his technical ability. What it is he's not a draw.
Yeah, I know he's not a draw.
a draw.
I mean, his last fight wasn't a draw either, really, was it? I think that was earlier this year.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I like the grappling. I like the jiu-jitsu and all that sort of stuff. But I think that it's just, I don't know if it's him or his style. It just hasn't really shown.
He's on a 6-fight win streak, though.
Yeah. He's been dominant.
Yeah,
he's been very, very clearly dominant.
Decision.
So just to clarify, UFC 310 this weekend has been headlined by Alexander Pantoja against Kai Asakura.
Yes, that's correct.
Is it Asakura or is it Ascora?
Of course,
It's Asakura.
Asakura for the flyweight belt.
But yeah, as far as this card, because obviously I just keep thinking about the main event, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and have a look at the card. The card is fucking stacked.
It is
Stacked to
even from the early prelims, before the prelims.
Yeah, man.
You know, you got Michael Chiesa, you got Clay Guida, you got Chase Hooper.
Chase Hooper's big.
Yeah.
Look at the odds.
massive favorite.
Clay Guida, he's been around for a while.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's trying to chase he's trying to chase all
38 wins.
He's trying to chase the same accolades as
Cerrone.
He wants to hit the 50 fight as well.
He ain't beating Chase, man.
2 former champions on the prelims, then.
Yeah. So this is some of the things that I was going to talk about. So obviously, I'm working up. The Chris Weidman fight has been rescheduled for this. That's the last fight on the early prelims.
Yes, against
Eric Anders. But yeah, we've got some other really big fights on here. Randy Brown. I always found him very, very entertaining. He's going up against Brian Battle. That is a good fight for Brian Battle as well.
Yeah.
Because he is, building his name. We talked about him. He called out.
He was brilliant on the mic.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was in France. He called out.
Was it Saint Denis?
Saint Denis. That's it. I was having a bit of a memory back there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he. In fighting Randy Brown, it's a good way to get his name on the map.
Yeah. Is he ranked yet, Brian Battle? Sorry.
No, he's not.
He's not ranked.
He's not. But that's what people just want to. People are kind of investing in him early. I think this is a good way for him to get his name out there even more. I think his last fight he's done that.
And he was.
But if some people miss that fight, Randy Brown is obviously another name that will be a good one for him.
First fight on the prelims.
Yeah. So that opens up the prelims, and then we got Mozart Evloev and Aljo. Everyone was saying that this is the fight that actually needs to be on the main card. They actually fucked up by putting us. I think this is a bit of like a.
But hasn't Dana White done some shuffling around in the last week or so? He's done a lot of
and everyone hates it.
Yeah,
everyone hates it.
What's this doing on the main card?
But he's obviously doing that.
Doo Choi is good, man.
But he's obviously doing that to
Aljo.
bolster the fact that
true.
There's been a main event. That's obviously Bilal Muhammad obviously dropped out of the card, didn't he, because of injury?
Well,
because it was double header, wasn't
the
it?
fight that got inserted into the main card that people saying that Evloev and Aljo should have instead of that spot is actually the Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie fight.
Right.
Because Kron Gracie is obviously he's one of the Gracies, but he's just sort of. A lot of people have just been like, he hasn't fought that much and he hasn't looked that great. Why the fuck is he on the card?
Right.
Yeah.
So he looks rough, man.
I think that
the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the Gracie name.
Exactly. They did it for the Gracie name, but that fight isn't going to draw more eyes than Aljamain versus Evloev, especially because Evloev is working his way to a title.
I was going to say that's for title contention, isn't it? And you've got in their 2 ranked fights, 5th against 9th. So why is that not on the main card then?
I have no idea. I think that's politics, to be fair, because I think that Aljamain has been very vocal about certain things.
Yeah.
And I think that he feels that it's a. I think he feels that there's some greater politics at play.
Or it's just very good booking, and Dana White wants as many butts in seats at the prelims as he can before the main card comes along.
That's the good thing about this. I think that because this whole prelims is so stacked, that you're going to have people who are going to be tuning in very, very early. Even from the fact that what we said about the early prelims before the prelims.
Yeah.
is decent.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Dana White started doing this more often because it does make good business sense. Why don't you have a couple of big hitters in the prelims to get people into the show early?
You got Vicente Luque as well.
You know, you're going to get more. I mean, when we were in
Aljo,
Manchester
Brian
at 304, there was a massive fight towards the back of the prelims that everybody wanted to see, right? Because there was a lot of backstage like promos going on. There was some real beef that happened. So everybody was rushing into the arena in the prelims to see the fight.
Oh, you're talking about when we went to Manchester?
Yeah, 304
with.
It was the last fight on the prelims.
They moved around the fights, didn't they? It was Manil Cap and what is his name? He just got let go.
Preliminary card.
Oh, yeah, Makayev. Mohammed Makayev and Manil Cap.
That was it. Yeah.
So that originally was going to be opening the main card, wasn't it? And then they moved it to the beginning of the prelims.
That's it.
And
it's because they wanted everybody in. And everybody was in.
Yeah.
It was a packed house at that point.
Yeah. Obviously, the start time didn't really help as well. So I think that was a weird one.
Yeah.
That was a very, very weird one. But I think there's some great politics at play. But Evloev come out. I've seen some comments, and he was sort of saying that, you know, it doesn't really make any difference to him. He's still going to get the W, and he still gets paid the same as what he's going to get paid if he's on the prelims as opposed to the main card. So it doesn't mean shit to him, to be honest.
Russian beast.
I think that it also as well, because it's shown on, like in America, it's shown on ESPN, which is available to more people, so they don't actually have to pay for the pay-per-view until it obviously gets to the main card. So Evloev was basically like, I'm gonna have more eyes on me because I'm on a regular cable channel.
Undefeated as well. Undefeated.
Yeah.
Evloev.
Yeah. We're gonna get into some other undefeated records on here, but yeah, that fight is gonna be a banger. Like we say, it's it has some very close implications to the title. So and a lot of people have been following Evloev. A lot of people have been kind of pushing him to say that he is the next guy in the featherweight division.
Yeah. It looks it.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. You got Vicente Luque and Temba Garimbo. That fight, Temba is actually a late replacement. He had to fill in. I can't remember who it was that he was filling in for. Oh, it was Diaz. He filled in for Diaz.
Yeah. Nick
Diaz.
Oh, Nick Diaz. Sorry, yes.
It was Nick Diaz versus Luque.
Why is it pulled out?
Looks like Themba had the answer for that one.
He answered the call. The answer, Garimbo. So why did Diaz pull out?
Because
I don't think people know at the moment. There was this weird video that was going around. Did you see it?
No.
There was a weird video of him going around. Obviously, you know that these guys, they like to hit the J like super hard, right?
Yeah.
But people saw him. He was standing in a river.
Right.
And he was like looking like a bit disorientated. Like people say that he was looking for a phone in the river, but it just looks a bit weird. But then there were some stories basically saying that apparently that's an old video, but people were saying like maybe he's a bit like,
he's definitely got CTE for sure, man. Like,
strange.
Yeah, so that was the video that was circulating before the fight was officially announced, and then all of a sudden it got cancelled. So people said maybe it's related to that, maybe it's not. But the UFC haven't.
Brothers though, like
everybody does.
Yeah,
everybody does. But
into it, man.
I think that everyone was actually looking forward to seeing the return of Nick Diaz. I wasn't really particularly fussed when you see the fact of his last fight.
Yeah,
that he had.
He looked so slow.
He didn't look great. So I think this is actually quite a good one. If Temba Garimbo can actually get a win over Luque, this will be a good. Yeah, it'll be a good look for him. He'll slide himself just into the bottom of the top 15 in the welterweight, and you know Temba's been he's had his online kind of persona kind of building as well. Like there was the story that was going around with him. He tagged The Rock in the thing in the video because obviously he's from Zimbabwe, fella Zimbo, and he basically came to America. He said that he was sleeping on gym floors. He was basically wanted. This was his dream basically to get into there. So he was kind of helping out, cleaning up gyms in order to have somewhere to stay.
Nice.
And he was using that as his way into the UFC, and he got his win.
So he's grafted. He
said that he had $7 in his pocket and he tagged The Rock, and The Rock basically came through, sorted him out with a house, looked after him. There was like a really, really good video package that was coming out.
I
about
saw
it.
this. The Rock
Yeah.
went into the cage. He was having like a sit-down interview with someone, and The Rock came up behind him, didn't he?
Yes, yeah.
And then he turned around and he literally just like broke down, hugged him.
Yeah,
like
and then,
mad.
Yeah, and then
I remember.
Didn't see
And
that.
then following that afterwards, he basically sorted him out with a house where he trains, and he was basically like, "I want you to focus on training, become the man that you're supposed to be."
The Rock, what
And
a
ever
guy.
since then, Temba's been kind
about.
of building himself up.
Come on, Temba. I'm
So
back in Temba now.
I'm rooting Temba.
Yes.
I'm rooting for Temba.
That's a good story,
and,
man. That's a good story.
Yeah,
Fair
I
play to him.
like that story for him.
Yeah.
So
$7 Temba.
It's on a four fight win streak.
4-fight win streak. Yeah, and I think for him to slot himself into the top 15, big moves.
Yeah.
Big moves.
Well, his opponent. Well, he's Temba. Who's he? Sorry, Temba.
Temba at the moment he's unranked.
He's unranked, yeah,
He's
but I think,
unranked.
yeah, but his opponent, Luke Cage,
Luke Cage
14th.
14th.
Yeah, sorry,
Luke Cage
yeah,
14th.
yeah.
Yeah, and then to close out the prelims, which I think is another interesting one, Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes.
What the Anthony Smith? I've seen Anthony Smith so much this year.
Been about.
He's been fighting a lot, man.
He's been a bit more active recently, yeah, because before he was just focused on obviously the commentary stuff, but
Yeah.
I think he's been trying to just have fun fights
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's in that kind of title talks at the moment. Reyes was talking about building himself up. He took like a long layoff after
Yeah.
he got injured after the John Jones fight, so he's only had a couple fights. But I think that this is quite an interesting one.
He's
for
been
those guys.
Dominic Reyes only had one fight since John Jones.
Yeah, yeah, and he said that he felt good in that fight.
It's an even.
Oh no, 2 fights.
It's an even
3
matchup,
fights.
really, isn't it?
Yeah,
For both of them, they're both in similar
Well,
kind of
I
places and win loss records.
Yeah,
etc.
everyone was
4
basically
fights. Sorry.
Yeah, no. He's had a couple fights, but everyone was saying like this is you heard about the curse of John Jones. Everyone basically says that you're basically fighting upwards. You're on this massive win streak, and then Reyes and Smith both fall into this category
Yeah, they
on
do,
the
yeah.
curse, where basically they end up on a
losses off the
massive
bounce.
skid
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
So Reyes, yeah, he took his
Oh,
losses, and then he had his last win against Jacoby, and people saying that he's looking decent again. So
This was heartbreaking to watch, man. After him and Reyes, John Jones and Reyes, watching that fight and watching him get KO'd by Polish Power.
nah, it was the one. It was the
it was
one with Yuri, man. The spinning back
that was also
elbow,
quite bad as well,
The spinning
yeah.
back elbow, the spinning back fist. That was
Yes.
brutal.
I remember that.
And that put Yuri on the map, like in terms of like that top level flashy kind
He
of
got
knockout.
fucking knocked out in his 3.
Yeah, and even Ryan Span. What the fuck is going on with Span? Actually, I need to actually see what's going on with him at the moment. But yeah, that's going to close off the prelims. It's weird.
Yeah,
that-
stacked
That's what I mean.
prelim.
For number 12 and 13 to be closing out the prelims.
But I think they need it though. They need it, like you said. I mean,
Yeah.
they were double head. This pay per view had a double header.
Well, this is the end of the years.
End of the year,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it had 2 title fights, didn't it? It had Bilal Muhammad against who was Bilal going up against?
What that was supposed to be on this fight?
Yeah. Oh, it was going up. It was going up against Rachmanov, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rachmanov.
Sorry. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. So obviously we were going to have Pantoja and Bilal Muhammad 2 title fights. So they probably felt the need to bolster the card a bit because they've lost one.
Well, I think a lot of these they were already set, but I think that probably this card recently, because I remember thinking this last year actually when it was the last card of the year.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like last card of the year, like what is it? And then like the same thing, you look at it and you're like, oh fucking hell, this is actually a pretty decent card. So I think
It's done us a good job with it.
they're doing like a almost like a kind of like what we were saying, how WWE are building up some of the other cards, so they kind of like almost like associated with these are the big 3 or the big 4 or the big 5 or whatever.
Okay.
I think that UFC are now kind of slotting that in, where it's like you've got Fight Week, you've got Madison Square Garden, which always happens in November, and then you got the one that happens at the end of the year.
Right.
So I think that this is
It's like a big close off, like
This
a
is
big
the-
finale for
exactly,
the year
yeah.
out. It's a good concept. It's good from TKO.
Yeah.
I like that. Or from UFC.
and then my guy
a bit
who
late though, but never mind.
where is this one? Oh, it's in Vegas. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. We're always fucked whenever it comes to
Yep.
Vegas. And then my guy who I was telling you about last time, Nate the Train, baby.
Yes.
Nate the Train,
What a
baby.
guy. Nate Land. How do you pronounce his surname?
Nate Landwehr.
Nate Landwehr.
Yeah, he's going against Duho Choi.
So this will be for a ranking, I'm assuming, to break in.
No ranking on this one. I think this is just another kind of fun fight. These boys are just I really like Nate Nate the Train, Duhur Choi, a lot. He's getting a lot of backing. They were talking about him very heavy when I was watching him on the Ariel Helwani show. The guys love him, but I'm a Nate the Train guy, so
featherweight.
I just always look forward to whenever Nate wins that he goes on there, he cuts almost like a wrestling style promo. Whenever he goes in there afterwards,
When was his last
fucking
fight?
sick on the mic,
Who's?
man.
Nate's.
Lambert.
Because I feel like I have seen him speak before on the mic this year.
Emmers against Josh Emmers. Is that Josh Emmers?
I must have seen that. Yeah, I think that's. I remember watching
Jamal
that.
Evers.
Pretty boy Jamal Emmers.
Yeah.
Back in March earlier this year. Yeah.
And he fought against Danny Gay as well.
Yeah, he had his one against the Ige. I think that's when they tried to obviously push him up the rankings. They tried to break him into the top 15, and I think that test was just a bit too much.
Put a stop to that.
But no, Ige is the top guy anyway. So.
Of course he is.
And then obviously we have the one that everyone is like, why the fuck is this on the main card? Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie.
Bryce. Good luck, boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want.
And then we've got Cyril Gane.
Yeah, we'll just move on. That's exactly what I was going to be. We'll move on.
But to be fair, that's not a bad fight. Volkov against Gane.
Volkov against Gane, yeah, but it's already happened.
Oh no,
that's the only thing. So Gane previously had the win against Volkov. I actually watched an interview where Gane was talking about this. He was sort of saying when the UFC brought this to his table, he was just sort of like, how come we're doing this again?
We should have beat Jones, shouldn't
This is what we're talking about. Like the heavyweight is in a weird place where in the top there's a lot happening, but the division itself is a little bit like it's kind of stuck. It's stuck in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I think with what's happening with John, what's happening with Aspinall, Francis leaving, Gane obviously having two title shots, but also losing those.
Yeah.
It's like in a weird space. Like they need either these guys to either fight some of the fights that haven't happened yet to keep it interesting, or they need to do similar to what they've done on the main, where they need to get somebody who's new just to insert them into the division and be like,
I'm here.
I mean, some of these guys have been around for a while. Cyril Gane, Volkov, Pavlovich, Curtis Blades has been around for a while.
Yeah. Derek Lewis.
Martin Tabura, he hasn't been around. He has been around quite a bit. Derek Lewis,
Tabora.
Taito Ivasa.
But out of that list there this year, obviously throughout the year, because we're coming to the end of it, the only heavyweights I've seen fight, I could probably pull out 5 or 6 of them. I don't think I've seen any others fight this year. It's like Gane, Aspinall, obviously we saw him, Volkov. So the top boys. Derek Lewis I've seen a couple of times, I think.
You saw Aspinall and Curtis Blades.
Aspinall and Blades.
Yeah, 304.
Before that,
even
he was
Almeida's
fighting
been around for a while as well.
Pavlovich, wasn't he?
Yes.
Jorginho, Rosenstrike as well.
Yeah.
People were talking up Jayton Almeida, obviously. They were obviously he had his
Big
fight
dude.
against Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
And then was it Derek Lewis? Yeah. He had his one against Lewis, and then they sort of thought, he's going to be a new breath of life into the division, and then obviously Blades put a stop to it.
Killed him at fight night.
So-
I remember that.
Yeah.
So they just need some more big boy fighters in the heavyweight division to shake it up, don't they?
Yeah, I
Away
don't know
from Aspinall and Jones, all that drama that's happening. Maybe that's just boister in the division, really, isn't it? That speculation.
Yeah, you have a bunch of guys as well who are just in a weird kind of spot where they're kind of taking up space, they're taking up real estate in the division, but they're not actually in the title contenders discussion. Like obviously Derek Lewis, people are saying Derek Lewis is obviously he's probably going to retire at some point.
Yeah.
He obviously shows that he's not really interested in fighting other than the money. Tui Vasa, he had his big kind of run, and then when he had his fight against Gane as well, like he sort of like dropped off a cliff in terms of the rankings and stuff like that. So you've got these guys who are taking up space there, who aren't doing that much. You have the top guys as well, when Aspinall, Gane, and Jones, who are just doing this thing of like, what's happening with the title? What's happening?
Yeah.
So heavyweight's in a fucking weird place. But anyway, we got Cyril Gane versus Volkov happening again. So it's the second time they faced off, and I think Gane wants to do whatever he can to sit on his position. Volkov, I think that if he wins, there'll be a bit more interest there because, obviously he has his loss to Tom, but
he had a good win against Pavlovich in Saudi.
yeah, exactly. So
it probably makes sense. It's probably the right fight, unless you put Well, really, the next fight for me would be Aspinall against Garn, just to give him a bit of a boost before it. Well, Aspinall needs another fight, but yeah, we've talked about him to the cows.
Should fight Pereira just to fucking cut the legs off the Jones.
Yeah, that's another discussion.
The thing is, like Garn, he obviously talked. He talked about the fact that he's had this match before as well, but it was interesting watching him in the interview today because he was sort of saying like, "Oh yeah, no, I was happy to fight Tom and all this sort of stuff, but we couldn't make it work in terms of schedule and all this stuff." And everyone was just like, this guy is bullshit because fucking Tom showed up in Paris and called him out, and he was just sort of like, yeah, no, like he sort of floated around.
Nobody wants Tom, man.
He didn't want to fight Tom, and then he fucked off and he filmed his what's the TV show, The Cage.
Yes, yeah.
Cage. We haven't talked about that actually. I think that we should actually do a review of that at some point.
What's The Cage?
The Cage.
So it's
on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's a TV show. It's actually a French show.
Okay.
I am.
And
how weird!
Cyril Gahn and Jones and Ariel Helwani all featured in the film.
Yeah.
And it's basically talking about a guy who's in France building himself up to get into the UFC.
Okay.
I was literally going to watch episode 1 of that tonight. Funnily, you should say that.
Yeah, I think we'll go through it. We'll watch it and then we'll give our takes on it.
Yeah,
I think it'll be quite interesting to be fair.
Review The Cage.
But yeah,
Thank you for adding that to my list.
no worries. But yeah, sort of an awkward one for Gon. He was like, yeah, I want this fight Tom, and then he didn't actually want to fight Tom, and he obviously fucked off and
used the name
Cage instead.
But
now I think that now where Tom is and the fact that Gon's kind of been pushed out of like the discussion, he's now sort of wanting to get this win.
I bet he is.
Yeah, so he can keep himself there. And then we've got the one which I think is the one that everybody is going to have the most eyes on.
Yes.
Shavkat Rakhmonov and Machado Garrett. Ian Machado.
Someone's has got to go.
Yeah, this is an undefeated. This is an undefeated fight for welterweight.
He's trying to be the next Conor McGregor, isn't he?
I think
Conor McGregor lost fights at this point in his career.
I think people
Almost like just his persona.
Yeah, I think people said that before. I think that he kind of is, but I think that maybe that might just be the Irish cultural thing of like fighting and shit talking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're probably
like,
right.
Cause
I'm probably being stereotypical when I say that.
all the guys in Ireland, like they got great shit talk.
Yeah, they do.
And Ian's just when it comes across the fact that he's trying to do it, it comes across the fact that he's trying to be Conor. But I just think that Irish people just have like really good. Like,
Irish people sound like Conor because Conor's Irish.
Yeah, there is that.
So anyone that talks shit in Irish is going to sound like McGregor.
Yeah.
But
you can't say they're all going to sound like McGregor.
No, I don't mean all of them. But he's got the same sort of voice, doesn't he?
He's got the same persona.
But he is.
It's a bravado. He's trying to give that similar sort of level of bravado.
He's a tough guy, man. He's got 15 undefeated professional fights.
Great fighter. Yeah, great fighter.
Yeah,
I think Shavkat does him though.
I wasn't sold on Machado Garrett until.
Oh shit! I should have kept that quiet.
Why is that?
We'll be doing predictions, aren't we?
Oh well, we'll put it out there.
I'll take him at the end.
But yeah, I wasn't really sold on Ian Gary until his last couple fights. I was sort of just like, I haven't really seen that much that like kind of had me backing him. But now
MVP, man.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that fight. I think it's the 2 fights before those that kind of had me like, okay, I actually do rate this guy. And but yeah, as far as Shavkat, I think it's going to be another good battle on this one. But I think that Shavkat is going to get it.
Well, aren't they both grapplers?
Well, Gary is like he's a really good striker. He's like, he's got really good kicks, so he can probably stay on the outside. The only thing is because he wasn't doing that great against MVP. Obviously, he done with in the striking sense. I think that he obviously went for the grappling in that fight, but against Shavkat, that's not going to work. So I'm interested to see how this fight's going to go.
Well, this is going to put one of them into title contention, obviously, isn't it? Whoever wins this is probably going to face Bilal when he's healthy.
Was supposed to be. This was supposed to be the fight for him.
So he'd be fuming.
But this is the number one contender.
This is the number one contender that should probably be happening.
I rate Shavkat for that because that's one of those things where it's like he could have sat on his position and just said, "I'm the number 3 guy. I'm just going to wait for the guy who
Bilal's
the fight, man."
Yeah,
but he was just like, he put a post up and he was basically just like, "You guys are embarrassing." Everyone in the welterweight division, you're embarrassing. He was like Kamaru Usman, Ian Garrett. No, he was calling out all these people, but he was like, fair play to Ian for like standing up.
I mean, there was talk of Shavkat and
And Usman.
And Usman anyway.
Yeah,
It was that close. It was going to happen.
I think that just sort of happened at a weird time because obviously Usman's next fight had then probably already started happening.
Yeah.
So I think they were deciding where they were going to go with this. Usman actually had a post about this where he was basically saying to all the fans and everybody else who has an opinion to shut the fuck up because they were saying, he ducked this fight against Shavkat.
He didn't duck.
And I don't think he did. I think there was just sort of a weird time where they had to negotiate. So he's fighting Jack Della Maddalena instead. And I think that's a good fight for him. I think that Shavkat would have been a good fight for him as well. But I think that it was just the way the chips fell and what came to him at the time. Plus, Shavkat's a dangerous guy. You have to think he's undefeated, and
I'd duck him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that Usman has had a bit of a rocky road. No pun intended. Since he lost to Rocky, to Leon Edwards. So, he had that, and then he had the fight against the loss against
Hamzat.
Hamzat, yeah.
Ooh, I came to you both at the same time.
So I think that not that he was selective in his thing, but I think that JDM, he's like, it's enough challenge for him, but it's also for him to kind of get his feet wet again. If he can get another win, then he could go have the fight where it's either like he's going to get the number one contender.
Yeah.
So
that's the co-main welterweight, 5 rounds. What's your predictions?
I'm going to go with Shavkat.
Round.
I don't know about round. Did we say we're still doing round?
We're not doing rounds.
I thought we were doing method.
No, I thought it was the other way around. I thought we were doing round, not method.
Nope.
JD's angry today, man. He's angry. JD's angry.
KO, submission, or decision.
Okay, you got to change it.
There we go. You said it.
Don't get Larry, J-Dog.
Yeah, you actually did say it.
You're the one
but
that said
we lost
it.
the recording.
Larry
We lost the recording.
The recording's there somewhere.
If you didn't hear it, you didn't hear it.
Round 7.
We'll go method then. That's fine.
Round 7.
You're not changing the rules on me, man. So you're going Shavkat knockout.
I am going to go Shavkat. I'm going to go Shavkat submission.
Shavkat submission. JD?
I was going to do the same thing.
Go for it.
You can do it.
Shavkat submission.
Shavkat submission. I'm going to go complete opposite to both of you motherfuckers. I'm going to go Ian Gary knockout.
That would be fucking amazing to watch if that happened.
Until you see it. Be a great fight.
That would be a Topuria knocking out fucking Folk levels.
I don't know.
I think Ian Gary's in for good things, man.
It depends how good. I think he is.
That will shoot him to the fucking moon.
I think that
So after seeing him against MVP, he looked impressive. You can't argue with that. He did.
he looked dominant.
Very
I wouldn't say
dominant.
he looked impressive.
But he looked very dominant.
He looked dominant. He didn't look impressive though.
For me, dominance.
Does that make sense?
Dominance is impressive. In the cage. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Wait.
Next week we'll have this discussion again.
Did you think that Valentina was impressive against?
No. She just did.
She was dominant though, right?
She was dominant, but she just did the job because her opponent was shit.
No. Fuck it. You can't say that Alexa Grasso shit. Alexa Grasso's top notch, man. What was that one? Marab.
Not shit in general, but just like in that fight, she didn't look good.
Making Sean O'Malley look shit, right? Wrestling, he absolutely dominated him.
Sean O'Malley looked rough that fight, man. There was something wrong with him. So, but I reckon the
Dominance
same thing.
and impressiveness is
Shavkat hasn't prepared for Ian Gary. He's been preparing for. Well, I suppose he has had enough time now.
Ian Gary hasn't prepared for Shavkat.
No, he hasn't. Which would be even better. Imagine if he comes.
It's just going to be, mate. If he bangs him, that'll be
upset. Is incoming.
I wouldn't even be upset. I'd be fucking impressed.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it'll be an upset win.
I don't really have a dog in this fight. I think that a lot of people want to see Shavkat win. Obviously, there's a lot of hate online for Ian Gary. But
it'd be nice to see an Ian Gary win.
Yeah, would be.
But
Nice.
I think Shavkat has him, man.
Yeah, I think Shavkat's just the more online favorable persona because he's just a little bit different. Do you know what I mean?
Fair play.
And then
I'm different.
we got the main. So we got Pat Pantoja versus Kai Asakura for the flyweight title.
So this is Asakura's first fight in UFC, isn't it?
In UFC, yeah. They put him straight in there.
Fucking mad. Because, I mean, I know obviously he was dominant in his other promotion. What was it? Who was he signed to? Ryzen, that's it. Yeah. So he dominated that promotion, didn't he?
Yeah, he does have a loss on his record. He actually lost to Manil Cap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. I think that people they're not really sure what to kind of make of him, but he was very, very dominant in Ryzen. So we got his pro record here, 21-4-0. I know that one of those losses is to Manil Cap. I did actually go back and actually watch the footage of that fight.
It's pretty bold of UFC though, no?
How old is he?
I know his MMA record.
I know he's
is
quite
mad.
young.
Do you not think though? Like, I know this is going slightly off topic, but do you not think that like these guys that just come in from other promotions and then they're just slotted straight into a title fight, they should earn their bones a little bit as well? Even though their record's great, like maybe they should, like if they've got a great record, fine, right? You're now coming into the big leagues of the UFC. You got to fight a top 5 fighter before you get a title fight.
I think that Dana's kind of expressed his he's not very favourable to flyweight. So I think he wants to kind of stir up the drama to also stir up the division.
Stirs it up a little bit. If he comes in and
I know the star power is lacking a bit.
Kai Asakura, but that's the thing. We're talking about it regionally because Kai Asakura, when you actually look at his name in Ryzen in Japan,
it's massive.
He's got more viewership than John Jones.
Yeah, it's just like a Shinsuke Nakamura coming over.
Yeah,
to WWE.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I get that completely.
I think his viewership numbers on his fights in Ryzen, like they're massive.
Yeah.
So I think what the UFC are trying to do here is more of a business move where they want to have.
They want the draw.
We've got this. We've got your guy over here in Japan coming over here and fighting one of our top guys, and they want to bring all that viewership.
Makes sense. Makes business sense.
Kind of just makes it, that kind of worldwide appeal again.
That's good. That's good promotion.
Yeah, good promotion. I quite like Asakura. I've watched some of his interviews. He's he's like a nice humble guy, but he's there's something that's kind of entertaining about him. I can't really explain it. I kind of have to maybe show you some clips, but I think that I don't know how this fight is going to go. It shows that Pantoja is actually the favorite. But what
I would say he's on a 6-win fight streak, isn't he?
Pantoja.
Yeah. But then again, he hasn't had a lot of competition. I think wasn't his last fight against Urge?
Moreno, isn't it?
His last one was against
we covered it.
No, that was the one before Roy. Usyk.
And then we had Pantoja and Royval before.
Yeah,
that was it.
This is a weird one because he's fought Moreno and Royval both twice. He had the fight against Usyk, which we said before Usyk was ranked like number 11 at the time. And then he's had Perez before that. He's had Royval before that. Cap before that. So he's
got a stranglehold over that division.
Yeah.
But, he needs some fresh meat to go at, doesn't he?
Askarov. Fucking hell. Yeah, he's beat quite a lot of people. Yeah, so I think they just need... I don't know if the UFC just kind of are doing their thing of where kind of... Because the UFC do have favorites, even though they try and make it out like they don't have favorites.
They have their draws, man. Like they know who sells tickets.
I think they kind of want to stir up a bit of drama by inserting Asakura, by putting them in the division. I think it's also it's a business move.
Yeah.
It's a business move which we discussed, but I think it's
puts eyes on the product where it might not be.
It'll be a good fight though.
At that point,
it'll be a good fight. I'll be interested to see someone like Asakura come in.
I want him to win.
What's his fighting style?
I think he's predominantly
boxer.
Nah, he's kind of like a. I don't know what kind of style you'd put it in.
Foundation style, Zendokai sumo.
Yeah, it's like wide stance, striking, and kind of a bit of grappling in there. I think
a lot of knockouts though. If you look at his wins, 13 wins via knockout, only 3 wins via submission.
Yeah,
so he's going to be a stand and pound kind of guy.
Yeah, I think he's it's weird because Pantoja is he's obviously kind of more known for the grappling, but he will strike with you. So I don't know. Maybe if it's a standing game, maybe it might benefit Kaya Sakura.
So it's an unknown, really, isn't it? Pantoja's entering, but unknown.
Which is why it's an interesting matchup as well for the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, I've seen stuff on PFL. I've seen stuff on Bellator. Ryzen was obviously more chat. There was a lot more chat about Ryzen back in the years, but I've never actually watched Ryzen. So this is, other than watching the Manil Cap loss, I haven't actually seen much of Asakura. I've read about people talking about him and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bit of an unknown for me. I don't really know who to back in this. I guess the only thing that I can do would be to say I'll go with Pantoja just because Pantoja has been so dominant. But I still, that would me writing off Asakura just because I haven't seen his fights. So
it's a bit of a throw shit at the ball, this one, and see if it sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's throw that shit.
Well,
JD, what do you think?
Kaya Sakura knockouts.
You're going. Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Asakura knockout. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, they're changing the guard, man. AJ. I'm gonna marry that, by the way.
I'm actually gonna go. I might go with that as well because I've seen Pantoja take damage. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
he doesn't completely evade damage. I just think that if he's gonna grapple, then he obviously gets the win. But I think that
it's mad how casually we're just writing Pantoja off here.
And I just want to see something new happen.
There's probably someone watching like, you fucking idiot.
But here's what's interesting.
But he's a dominant fighter, man. He's
100%.
like he's been an incredible flyweight champ.
And this is how dominant Kaya Sakura is according to the UFC.
Yeah.
A professional record of 0 wins, 0 losses, 0 professional fights.
His
Yeah,
MMA
but he's 0 foot tall and 0.
0 foot and 0. Weighing in at pounds. His reach 0 and his leg reach is 0. What a guy! They have done him dirty there, man.
They take a while to bring this up because even when we were talking about Rene Derrida, wasn't he? He was just a fucking creative fighter.
He didn't even have a face a few weeks ago. Do you remember? If you remember,
he was a creative fighter a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so they've only just got his graphics and everything sorted. They take a while to do that. I don't know why, to be honest. I'm actually just checking
for a company that big and that
they've probably got better things to do with their time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, instead of actually paying their fighters
stick his name on there
and taking pictures of them for important fights.
This is the thing we talked about before. They need to get that right. To be fair, sorry, I'm just having a look here of the losses that Pantoja has taken just to see if that will give me some sort of. All his losses have been by decision. He's got a decision loss against Figueiredo. He's got a decision loss against Askarov.
Decision loss against
Ortiz.
Can't change your answer now,
and then
AJ.
No. I'm still sticking with Askarov, but he actually hasn't been knocked out. He hasn't been knocked out. Davidson Figueiredo. That was on 240.
It's too late now, AJ.
Holloway versus Edgar. No, I'm just wondering if I seen that fight. It doesn't stand out in my head. I'm just trying to remember because obviously Figueiredo, obviously it could have been a bit of a grappling match, but it could have been a striking match. So I'm just looking at the talent that he's faced and the losses, how they may have come. So to see if maybe that will indicate what's going to happen with Askarov.
I'd like to see a shocker there.
I don't necessarily think it'll be a shocker though. That's the thing.
Well, just a shocker. One guy making his debut into the UFC and winning a belt straight away.
The thing is, we always talk about sometimes it's not as simple as wins and losses. It's also the method and how you do it. Like if you're going to get the submission, if you're going to get the knockout, if you get the knockout while you're on the back foot, all this sort of stuff. It's just stuff that can make you go viral.
When you get the bullet knockout.
Yeah, exactly. When you get a certain knockout like that, or if say for example, like you do like a Leon, like you're losing in the fight and then you just go head kick.
Boom.
That could be like, that's going to propel you in terms of how people are going to look at you. So it depends on the method. It could be a shocker. It just depends on how, if that knockout does come, how does it come? How does it get delivered?
Yeah.
Does he look dominant? We'll see.
See what happens. Good card though.
We shall see.
Looking forward to the 310 card, man.
Yeah, and then we won't mention Fight Night, but Fight Night's then the last event of the year.
Yes.
Which is the week after that. And then we don't have anything until the 16th of January, I think it is.
Did you give a prediction, AJ?
Yeah, I went with Asakura
He
as
said
well.
Asakura knockout.
I went with Asakura.
I thought you was going to change the method there.
No, I wasn't going to change. I just wanted to see for
We've literally gone Asakura knockout across the board.
So next week when we're all wrong,
18th of January will be the next one.
Oh,
Starts next year.
that works, because obviously then you got Saturday night's main event the weekend after, and then it's fight night, and then it will take a lull for everybody before we then come back.
I mean, the fight night's got a good main, but yeah, we'll talk about that next
We'll
week.
come to that.
Yeah.
Buckley and Covington. Any other news though in the world of MMA, UFC?
It's probably
Anything else?
loads, to be honest with you.
Yeah, headlines. Anything else to report? What's been going on out
in
there?
the last episode, we mentioned the fact that discussions were happening with Jones and and Aspinall. That's obviously been the main thing that people have been talking about.
Do you think we'll get through an episode without mentioning Jones or Aspinall at any point?
It depends how it goes. To be honest, we definitely will, but not for a couple of weeks. I think we just need to see how things are going to go. But Jones has obviously started talking that since we lost that footage and we mentioned talking about that. Jones is now piping up talking about retiring again. So I think he's obviously not hearing the money talk that he's hoping for.
He's playing the game. JD's done with Jones.
But this is the thing, like we're talking about how unceremonious it will be if Tom ends up getting promoted to fucking to being the undisputed champion just off of a guy basically just dropping the belt.
It wouldn't feel right.
Fucking shit.
Let Jones make as much noise as he wants. He will be fighting Tom Aspinall next year. I'm sure of it.
I don't know, man.
I'm sure of it.
I don't know. I'm hoping for it.
Well, because if he wasn't, like, I don't know, whatever happened with Jones and Ngannou before, I think was an Ngannou issue. I don't think it was necessarily a Jones
I
issue.
think
100% not.
I don't know, man.
When you go back and you look at the footage and you see everything that was there, it was 100% Jones.
If Jones retires in the UFC, he's fighting Ngannou.
If he hangs it up,
I just don't think that Jones.
Ngannou actually tagged him in a post. Actually,
I just don't think that Jones would make as much noise as he is unless he had an intention of fighting.
Well, he did that with Ngannou when he said he was going to step up to heavyweight and waited for him to leave. So then
we're going to disagree, but I think that was an Ngannou issue. I don't think that was a Jones problem.
But Dana, the guy who's now up his ass, basically saying the whole thing of saying he's the GOAT, he's this, he's that, he's like the best of all time. He was the one saying, "Oh, Jones is scared. Like if I was him, I'll be moving to middleweight, going the other way, basically from light heavyweight." It's like, why the fuck would you say that about the guy who's basically been hyped up as being the greatest of all time?
He probably had a plan. Look, we don't know what's going on in Dana's head. We don't know what's going on in Jones's head.
Ngannou before he had his, so that talk of him and Jones, before that discussion actually happened, was before he fought Garn.
Yeah.
So he had one fight left on his contract.
Yeah.
Garn wasn't even asking. Sorry, not Garn. Ngannou wasn't asking for any more money. He was basically just like, well, I'm under a contract. So if I have to fight Jones on what I'm making right now, then it is what it is. But when it came to Jones, it was, he wants Deontay Wilder money, blah blah blah, all this sort of stuff that that Dana was talking about. So I don't know. I think that, don't get me wrong, Jones has a lot of bargaining power, but I don't know.
I wouldn't be fussed if I didn't see him again. If it meant him not fighting Tom.
Yeah, I think it's a different.
I wouldn't mind.
It's a different story when people are really, really active and they're just like, I'm going to give up the belt. Everyone's like, that's fucking shit. Because obviously, like for example, like even if Pantoja, like even though he's not the biggest draw right now, the fact of how dominant he is and how much he's been fighting recently, if he just turned around and he was like, well, I'm just going to throw the fucking belt away. Like almost like a WCW, like throw the belt in the bin, like then it will just be like, it will be a bit shit. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that Jones is sort of like semi-absent in the fact that it's like we're waiting so long, people know that we've had good moments in the UFC without him. So the UFC doesn't cease to exist because he's not fighting.
Exactly.
You know? It's the same thing.
No one's bigger than UFC, man.
But still the fight everybody.
If they are, then they're well, Connor's bigger than UFC now, but now he's having a turn as well. But never mind.
Yeah.
Dana will make it happen. I've still got no doubt about that. I'll say that every week. I'm sure it will. He won't let that. He will not want that fight to get away from him.
Getting Arab money.
Yeah, I think that's the main discussion that's going to happen right there. Whether or not if
get Buster involved, man.
If they're gonna, but it's hard to say. It depends because if it's about the money, then I suppose the sheikhs can foot the bill for him.
It's always about the money.
But at the same time, you have is Jones going to want to go and fight in Saudi Arabia? Because apparently now the Sheikhs don't want to do events in the US after they had some issues with some of the boxing fights that they had over here and stuff like that. But then you don't have any kind of vibe over there sometimes in like the same thing we say about the crowd sometimes. Like it's not the same.
Yeah, they have all the
I don't know,
important people
man.
sitting near the front and creating zero atmosphere.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've seen some brilliant boxing.
I've seen some good
Boxing
fights
fights in Saudi. No, I'm
Jones
talking
doesn't like
about
to travel
boxing.
either. Jones doesn't like to travel.
But I've seen some unbelievable boxing fights in Saudi.
Well, if he
They
wants
put
the
on some
money,
good
he's going to have to
shows.
travel, isn't he?
Yeah, but
Fuck.
are you talking about the fights or are you talking about the fact
The
of the
spectacle,
atmosphere?
the spectacle, the show, the arenas, the stadiums. I think Saudi's now to put on a show, but it's just down to whether, as you say, Jones wants to do it. But anyway, we talk about Jones till the freaking cows come home. Let's see what happens, man. And yeah, but for now, 310 this weekend. Big card. Looking forward to it. Go
Are
on.
we going to break the wall as to what's going to happen with recordings, or are we going to just discuss this whole?
No, let's discuss it. I think it's nice to be clear with what's going on going forward.
What is going on forward?
This is the last episode of Cage and Canvas ever. So we've gone to episode 12.
It's been fun.
And we're done basically. No, AJ's unavailable for in 2 weeks' time.
Sorry, no. We haven't discussed this off the camera. This has not been discussed.
We're gonna.
So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, let's just freestyle it.
No, we're not going to freestyle it here.
Okay.
Chicka freestyle.
I don't like freestyling that stuff.
No,
mate.
freestyling off your dome, no.
We'll talk about it. I don't even know what's going on myself.
No,
Well,
well,
I've got to look at my calendar.
I mainly mentioned the fact that there's going to be a month. There's going to be a month's break of shows, which I just mentioned in UFC land. There will be wrestling shows, the smaller episodes of Raw day one if they decide to do day one. Then we obviously. The start of the new year, we have everything that's going to happen there.
We have a Christmas schedule.
We're pissing time away right now, boys. We've still got some great events coming up, man.
We've got some great events.
No,
We've got
100%.
310 this weekend. We've got Saturday night's main event the next weekend. We've got Final the weekend. We're talking 4 weeks away.
Yeah, no. One of our episodes technically falls on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there. Merry Christmas, boys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
We should
yes,
actually have a
but
Christmas themed
ultimately-
episode.
Oh, we will. We'll all have Santa hats on and shit. We'll put some tinsel over the old cage of canvas in it.
Yeah,
We'll sort it
that could be quite interesting, actually.
Merry Christmas. But one thing that will not stop is content. We will always have stuff coming out. Yeah. Apart from last week. Technical issue, but it will not stop.
Everything that's in the closet will be coming out.
That doesn't sound great.
What do you mean it doesn't sound great?
you're not funny,
Coming out of the
man.
closet.
Not funny.
But yeah, content. That was a shame that we lost the episode. That was quite a good episode, to be fair.
Never mind. It will, like I said, it will be found on the lost tapes.
Let's not lose this
day.
one, boys.
It will happen. Anything else you boys wanted to add this week? Anything else to add? Covered a lot.
No.
Not from me.
Same here. So we'll catch you guys next week and we'll talk about
cap it
things that
off.
happen at the weekend. I'm signing out.
Locking
Good
off.
night.
Good morning.
Good night. Sleep tight.